Chapter 468. The voice was very soft, but at this time, the arena was surprisingly quiet. It was so quiet that even a pin drop could be heard. Wow! The crowd was in an uproar. Everyone was shocked and their eyes were filled with disbelief. From what they saw, although Ji Xia was seriously injured, Lin Feng was not much better. Beside him, there were two Ji Xia clones on his left and right. It would be easy for them to take his life. No matter how they looked at it, the winner should be Ji Xia. But I was lucky. Lin Feng smiled. At this time, the two Ji Xia beside him were faintly discernible. They lost their energy and slowly disappeared. As for Ji Xia, he stood up weakly with his hand on his right chest. Swish! Fang Yen, who was dressed in blue, appeared in the arena. He looked at Ji Xia and then at Lin Feng. He was quite satisfied and praised. A very exciting match. This is the final battle of the elite tournament that I wanted to see. Dong! Fang Yen rang the small bell in his hand. I announce that the match is over. Lin Wen wins. Fang Yan's voice was clear and loud, spreading throughout the entire arena. That loud voice covered everything and put a perfect end to this exciting match. It made everyone's heart tremble, as if they were suffocating. Ji Xia really lost. The champion of the elite tournament actually lost to a nobody from the Caifei sect. Extremely shocking. What happened? What? Ji Xia lost? Damn it, get out of the way! At the entrance, everyone desperately squeezed forward. Hearing this shocking news, they were all anxious and sweating profusely. But there were too many monks and too little porridge. The entrance was so packed that not even a drop of water could trickle through. At this time, the audience was in full swing and the sound of discussion was endless. How could it be that Ji Xia lost? He obviously won. Who knows? The person involved admitted it himself. How could it be fake? Damn, what the hell is going on? Who can tell me? There was a great suspense at the end of the match. Everyone was talking about it enthusiastically, adding a bit of drama and fame to the match. Father, what's going on? Fang and I was puzzled. Even Uncle Fang had personally announced Lin Wen's victory, so it couldn't be false, but Fang and I, like the other warriors, couldn't figure out the reason. Fang Tianxing smiled and said, "It's actually very simple. It's because..." Lin Wen held back. If that spear had pierced Ji Xia's heart, Ji Xia would have died a violent death. The difference of a single breath is enough to change everything. If Ji Xia dies, his two flowing cloud doppelgangers will collapse on their own, just like now. As he spoke, Fang Tianxing pointed at the arena. At this moment, the Ji Xia on both sides of Lin Feng had already turned into light and slowly disappeared. Fang and I nodded as she finally understood. Senior brother actually lost. Qin Qianqian was completely stunned. Impossible! How is this possible? Senior brother's strength is ranked in the top 10 among the younger generation of Fierce Yen School. Qin Qianqian shook his head continuously, his eyes dazed. Moreover, he had lost to him. Qin Qianqian pursed his lips tightly, his expression blank. Xiar was too careless. Sima Shi's eyes were burning. That Lin Wen has many treasures on him. I don't know if the flame he used to defeat your senior brother was a fire-type spirit treasure or a soul technique, but it was very powerful. Combined with his spear art, it actually broke Xiar's third-grade star power head-on. What a lucky guy! Qin Qianqian clenched his teeth. After hearing his master's words, he felt slightly better. It's not luck. That little guy has very strong fighting instincts. Sima Shi nodded, his eyes showing his appreciation for talent. He's just lucky. Qin Qianqian pouted. Catch. Lin Feng threw 2 fruits of life to Ji Xia. Ji Xia's eyes burned as he reached out to catch them. He smiled weakly and said, "Thank you. Are you all right?" Lin Feng smiled. Ji Xia swallowed the fruit of life. His pale face instantly flushed red, and his spirit recovered a lot. He gently shook his head and said, "Just a small injury." Indeed, for warriors, as long as they didn't hurt their vitals, these were indeed small injuries. That's good, Lin Feng said casually. He immediately put the nightmare demon's spear back into the scabbard. Today's battle has benefited me a lot. If there's a chance in the future, let's fight again. Next time, I won't lose again. Ji Xia's eyes were full of fighting spirit. His expression softened as he nodded and said, "But this time, I accept my defeat wholeheartedly." Then, a light flashed in his hand and flew straight up. Lin Feng grabbed the air with his right hand. Instantly, he felt a strange and strong power. He immediately let out a soft "oh." When he opened his palm, there was a token with distinct edges and corners. The golden color of the token gave off a noble aura. It was like a high and mighty monarch. 4 words were clearly engraved on the token. Yan Ling Royal Residence. This is... Lin Feng's eyes focused. The identity token of Yan Ling Royal Residence. It's the prize for the champion of this elite martial competition. Ji Xia's eyes were calm as he said slowly, "You deserve it." Lin Feng looked at Ji Xia. He instantly remembered that Ji Xia had mentioned it when he came to fight. He didn't expect him to be so trustworthy. "Then I won't be polite." Lin Feng nodded lightly. Between men, 1 was 1, 2 was 2. There was no need to be shy. Ji Xia smiled. "Oh right, I wasn't joking. Lin Wen, you can think about it when you go back." Lin Feng was slightly startled. Then, he understood what Ji Xia was talking about. "I'll think about it seriously," Lin Feng replied. He didn't refuse immediately. "I'll come find you 3 days later." Ji Xia's eyes were bright and full of expectation. "Okay." Lin Feng nodded lightly. He felt a little embarrassed by Ji Xia's enthusiasm. But whether it was today or tomorrow, it was something he decided on. He wouldn't change his mind. The battle was over. However, this storm was like a bolt of lightning that descended and crazily spread. In the streets and alleys of Green Smoke City, in the tea houses and taverns, this shocking news quickly spread like smoke. "Have you heard? Ji Xia lost." "Haha, old Lu, your news is too outdated. Who doesn't know that Lin Wen from the Colored Jade sect is stronger than Ji Xia? Hey, you're all just hearsay. I saw the battle with my own eyes." "Damn, Scarface Chong, are you for real?" The news of Lin Feng and Ji Xia's battle spread quickly. Some were true, while others were boasting. The news spread like wildfire. In less than half a day, the entire Green Smoke City knew about it. Everyone was speechless. No one could have imagined that someone as strong as Ji Xia, who had ascended to the champion seat of the elite martial competition with overwhelming strength, would actually lose to a fledgling from the Colored Jade sect. It was too unimaginable. But this was the truth. Reflection Tower 2-star suite. "It's fake, it's definitely fake." Ding Can's eyes were bloodshot, filled with hysterical madness. "I don't believe it either. No matter how strong this Lin Feng is, he can't win against Ji Xia, right?" Ding Qing frowned slightly. Although she had never fought with Ji Xia, she had seen Ji Xia become the champion of the elite martial competition with her own eyes. She defeated experts like Hu Pao and Bai Shen 1 by 1. She could be said to be the undisputed number 1. "Wind from an empty cave may not be without reason," Ding Ding said in a deep voice. This Lin Feng was already quite strong when he was at the 7th stage of the Star River realm. Ding Hong frowned. If he really broke through to the Star Sea realm, perhaps he really has such strength. Ding Qing bit her lips and said hesitantly, "Great Elder, Sect Master, then our original plan. Same as before." Ding Ding's eyes were deep as he said in a deep voice, "There will be no changes to the plan. We must take revenge for Senior Brotherly." Ding Can gritted her teeth. "That Lin Feng and our Fengyang Valley are irreconcilable. If we don't get rid of this kid, he will definitely become a big problem in the future." Ding Hong sneered. "Moreover, with such a big crocodile supporting us, what is there to be afraid of?" Even if Lin Feng really has the same strength as Ji Xia, so what? Without the power behind him, he is alone. He can't escape death. Ding Hong's eyes were cold. That Lin Feng has many treasures on him. When the time comes, not only will we get rid of the big problem, but we can also make a fortune. Ding Hong's killing intent was revealed. If he wants to blame someone, he can only blame himself for being too sharp. Reflection Tower, 7-star suite. We are leaving, Lin Feng. Pei Hong looked at Lin Feng with a reluctant expression. Although she had already decided, when it was time to leave, she still felt an inexplicable melancholy. Although they had not been together for long, they had already established a deep friendship. Thank you for taking care of me during this period, Lin De Go. Pei Qing smiled faintly. Although she was better at hiding her emotions than Pei Hong, Pei Qing's eyes betrayed her. Lin De Go, Xiao Lu will miss you very, very much. Xiao Lu cried and threw herself at Lin Feng, hugging him tightly. To Lin Feng, she was like an elder brother and felt dependent on him. All good things must come to an end. Lin Feng rubbed Xiao Lu's head, looked at the girls and said softly, "Everyone, take care. If fate wills it, we will definitely meet again." His voice was very gentle. Lin Feng also felt reluctant, but there were many things that had to be done even if he did not want to. When he left Tianwu continent, wasn't it the same? It was even better than now. Let's go, little girl. Pei Hong gently pulled Xiao Lu, revealing a forced smile, suppressing the sadness of parting. Pei Qing looked at Lin Feng and said softly, "If you have the chance, come to Caifei sect. Master will definitely want to see you." "Okay, if I have the chance, I will definitely come." Lin Feng nodded. Lei Dao looked at Lin Feng with burning eyes, clenching his fists. "Big brother Lin Feng, I will also become an expert like you in the future." Lin Feng smiled and gave him a thumbs up. "There will definitely be no problem, Lei Dao." With such aptitude, coupled with hard work, Lin Feng was sure that Lei Dao's future was limitless. Goodbye. The girls of Caifei sect reluctantly bid farewell. Goodbye. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled, and there was a faint sadness in his smile. But this was the path that he had chosen. The path of an expert. Today's third update as usual, the first update will be delivered first. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 469. After sending off the colored jade sex people, Lin Feng immediately went into the training hall. The battle with Ji Xia not only brought him great benefits, but also a lot of inspiration. He benefited a lot. The rebirth fire isn't omnipotent, Lin Feng thought to himself. He knew very well that due to the Phoenix natal chart, his martial god and celestial spirit master levels couldn't increase in a short time. It was quite fatal. His rebirth fire was indeed very strong, but that was against Cosmic River rank powerhouses. This time, he barely managed to break through Ji Xia's star power eruption. And last time, he was completely defeated by Wing, who was at Cosmic River rank 6. It was just that Wing's attacks lacked explosive power, so he was exhausted to death. If Ji Xia's strength increases even a little, I'm afraid I'll be the one to lose this time. Lin Feng clearly understood that as he faced stronger and stronger opponents. The rebirth fire that he relied on as his trump card gradually lost its killing aura and became mediocre. He could imagine that not long after, perhaps his war god attacks would surpass the rebirth fire. Cultivate! Cultivate again! Lin Feng's eyes were bright, and he didn't have any other thoughts. Compared to other martial artists, his starting point was already very high. Although the Phoenix natal chart was restricted and the star sky pupil was asleep, at least his war god strength had broken through to Cosmic River rank. Just Cosmic River rank 1, his body was comparable to an ordinary Cosmic River rank 3 martial artist. The advantage was very obvious. Abandon everything and comprehend star power. Lin Feng clenched his fist. His goal was very clear. Comprehending star power could not only strengthen his battle strength, but also greatly increase his cultivation speed. Only by mastering star power could he be a true cosmic river rank powerhouse. Reflection Tower 2-star suite. Ding Hong put down the communicator and looked around with a faint smile. The colored jade sex people have left Green Smoke City. Ding Can's eyes lit up and flashed with viciousness. When do we make a move? Ding Qing pursed her lips. She couldn't bear it, but under Ding Ding's cold gaze, she didn't dare to disobey. There's no hurry. Ding Hong nodded. Big Crocodile sent someone to follow them. We just need to wait patiently. We're too close to Green Smoke City right now, and I'm afraid something might happen. It won't be too late to make a move when they're far away. Ding Hong's eyes were cold. These little fish definitely won't be able to escape. Ding Ding's eyes flashed with a cold light. Since we're going to do it, we'll do it thoroughly. We'll cut the weeds and pull up the roots, leaving no future trouble. Ding Can clenched his teeth. I will definitely avenge Senior Brother Li. Lin Feng did not know that because of him, the people of the Colored Jade sect had already been targeted by a group of jackals and wolves. At this moment, he was sitting cross-legged and immersed in the state of comprehension. He was trying his best to comprehend the illusory starry sky energy. Again and again, over and over again. But how could it be so easy to comprehend the power of the stars? 2 hours, 4 hours, 6 hours. Time passed by slowly. Even when the sky was completely dark, Lin Feng still found nothing. Phew, Lin Feng let out a long breath. A trace of worry flashed across his brows. Comprehending the power of the stars was already a huge problem in front of him. It was a problem that had to be solved. Even if he couldn't comprehend the power of the stars, he could still use his energy to cultivate. However, the difference in efficiency between using the energy of heaven and earth to temper the body and using the power of the stars to temper the body was more than 100 times. One was the galaxy-level cultivation method, while the other was the true galaxy-level cultivation method. According to the enigmatic sunflower star art, comprehending the power of the stars depends on 3 aspects. The first, and the most important, is the martial artist's aptitude. The stronger the aptitude, the more compatible it is with the star power, and the easier and simpler it will be to comprehend. Lin Feng shook his head and smiled bitterly. According to the book, martial artists with heaven-defying aptitudes could sense the power of the stars without the need for the star fusion art. Obviously, he would never be able to get close to this kind of monstrous genius even if he had 8 lifetimes. His war god aptitude was 5th grade intermediate, and it was an ability strengthened by the phoenix blood. In the Douling world, it belonged to the moderate category. He couldn't achieve anything high or low. Compared to his aptitude as a martial god, a heavenly spirit master, and a heavenly soul master, it was thousands of miles away. However, right now, he could only rely on it. There was nothing he could do. The second, original star power. Lin Feng's eyes deepened. The more original star power one had, the more likely it was to comprehend the power of the stars. However, in order to cultivate original star power, one must first comprehend the power of the stars, which was very contradictory. Otherwise, one could only absorb the energy of heaven and earth and rely on the level of the body to slowly increase the original star power, which was very slow. The third, the star fusion art. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The higher the level of the star fusion art, the more likely it was to comprehend the power of the stars. From 6th grade to 5th grade, and then from 5th grade to 4th grade, the chances of comprehending the power of the stars would multiply with each grade. If he could get the star fusion art above 3rd grade, his chances of comprehending the power of the stars would undoubtedly increase greatly. This is the breakthrough. Lin Feng nodded. The first one was innate and hard to change. The second one required a lot of time, which was not efficient. Only the third aspect was the most reliable, and also the most likely one for him to accomplish. Fang and I said the other day that the highest level of the star fusion art for sale in Green Smoke City is the 6th grade star fusion art. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he recalled what Fang and I said. If he joined the Fang family, he could get the 3rd grade star fusion art. It was very attractive. It was like hitting a snake where it hurt and completely grasping its mind. Indeed, the importance of the star fusion art to a star C-level warrior was undeniable. However, even if I want to joining the Lian school would be better. Lin Feng smiled faintly. In Green Smoke City, the Fang family could be considered a tyrant. However, compared to the Lian school, which controlled 15 cities to the south of Yanling Prefecture, the difference was huge. Now that he had no one to rely on, if he was really forced, joining the Lian school was also a way to settle down temporarily. After all, without strength, it was impossible to survive in the Douling world. But joining a sect is a bad idea. Lin Feng nodded slightly. Only when there was no other way and all the paths ahead were blocked, would he consider this. But now it was not a dead end. There is another way. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. If this method failed and he could not sense the star power, maybe he could only make do for now. A green stone the size of a copper coin appeared in his hand. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled, full of desire. According to Pei Hong, the Green Smoke Secret Realm opened once a year and only warriors under the age of 30 could enter. It was filled with countless treasures, especially all kinds of martial arts manuals. A small part of Green Smoke City came from the Green Smoke Secret Realm, and this small part was of high quality. This was his last hope. The Green Smoke Secret Realm will open in 3 days. I will stop sensing the star power for 3 days and focus on improving my strength. I will prepare for the Green Smoke Secret Realm. Lin Feng clenched his fists and his eyes flashed with a sharp light. In his current state, the probability of sensing the star power was very small. Instead of wasting these 3 days, it was better to make good use of it. 3 days was enough for his strength to reach a higher level. In the wilderness, the sky was completely dark. The faint starlight shone down, shining with a light luster, bringing a quiet desolation. The group of people from the Caifei sect was already far away from Green Smoke City. They had been on the road for 10 hours and it was almost midnight. When we get back, Master will be shocked. Xiao Lu smiled and caressed the sword at her waist. She loved it so much that she could not put it down. Indeed, our outfits are really frightening. Pei Hong shook her head and smiled bitterly. Lin Feng's gift was too expensive. The long whip at her waist alone was worth 150 soul coins. Before coming to Green Smoke City, she would not have dared to think about it, but now she was not the only one. Pei Qing, Xiao Lu, and Lei Dao seemed to be carrying a treasure vault. The total value of the treasures, weapons, armor, and manuals was 1,200 soul coins. How amazing! It was comparable to the wealth of a large sect in Green Smoke City. I really have to thank Lin Degu. Pei Qing's eyes sparkled as if she had thought of something. She covered her mouth and chuckled. Back then, you still thought of Lin Degu as a robber. Pei Hong's face turned red. At that time, we had just encountered robbers. Junior brother Wen died an unnatural death. It was normal for me to be afraid. Xiao Lu snorted. This time we are fully armed. We won't be afraid of robbers again. Pei Qing smiled. We shouldn't be so unlucky to encounter robbers twice, right? Before he could finish speaking, all of a sudden, as the wind and clouds suddenly changed, countless masked warriors with sharp blades in their hands shot out like sharp arrows from the surrounding hills. There were more than 100 of them. The cold light of the weapons shone brightly under the starlight, bringing with it a bleak chill. They completely surrounded the group of people from the Caifei sect. In an instant, everyone from the Caifei sect turned pale. Like catching a turtle in a jar, their way out was completely blocked. leaving no gap. They were just so unlucky. Reflection Pavilion. Lin Feng sat cross-legged in the training hall with his eyes closed. At this moment, he was immersed in the extreme road Phoenix realm, cultivating the fire of devouring. 3 days wasn't a long time, but it wasn't a short time either. With the cultivation speed of the extreme road Phoenix realm, 3 days was enough to raise the fire of devouring by several levels. Perhaps it was still far inferior to the fire of rebirth. However, the closer the fire of devouring was to the fire of rebirth, the more terrifying the explosive power produced by the fusion of the two. Lin Feng clearly knew that right now this self-harming attack was his greatest killing move. His strongest trump card. Before entering the green smoke secret realm, he would strengthen his trump card to the limit. It took him nearly 20 hours to raise it from the 43rd level to the 44th level. It took him nearly 40 hours to raise it from the 44th level to the 45th level. Another 2 levels. Lin Feng, who was immersed in cultivation, did not know that in these 3 days what happened outside. Second update continue. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 470. South of the city, in a huge manor in the hidden Silk Valley. That Lin Feng still hasn't made a move? Ding Ding, who was sitting in a wheelchair, said with cold eyes. There's still no news. Ding Hong frowned, holding the communication device in his hand. Ding Qing said slowly, maybe those people from the colored jade sect are insignificant to him. It's not worth him risking his life. Ding Can snorted, this executioner kills people like flies. He's cold-blooded and merciless. He and those people from the colored jade sect are just using each other. Since he hasn't appeared yet, I'm afraid this plan has already failed. Ding Can couldn't help but snort with disdain and hatred in his eyes. Idiot! Ding Ding shouted. Ding Qing and Ding Can were shocked. Don't you see how many precious treasures these kids from the colored jade sect have? Ding Ding's eyes were sharp. You don't even know how to use your brains. Ding Qing and Ding Can pursed their lips and nodded. Indeed, if Lin Feng didn't care about those people from the colored jade sect, he wouldn't have given them such a big gift. The treasures found from their bodies were worth more than 1,000 spirit coins. Let's wait a little longer. Ding Hong said slowly with a faint smile. Even if Lin Feng doesn't come, we won't lose anything. If we sell all these spirit treasures, we should be able to get close to 1,000 spirit coins, which will be of great help to the Windyang Valley. He will definitely come. Ding Ding's eyes were cold. Reflection Tower, 7-star suite. The door of the training hall slowly opened, and Lin Feng stepped out. I'm really not used to it. Lin Feng smiled. In the past, every time he came out, he would always hear chattering, but now it was empty. He looked out the window. At this time, the sky was almost dawn, with a faint red light. It was almost dawn. 3 days have passed in the blink of an eye. Today at noon is the opening day of the annual Green Smoke Secret Domain. I'm really looking forward to it. Lin Feng had a faint smile on his face. He was in an extremely good mood. The devouring fire had increased by 2 levels, reaching the 45th level. It was 1 level closer to the fire of rebirth. Walking into the living room, Lin Feng couldn't help but let out a soft cry of surprise. In the middle of the living room, a large circular signal lamp was lit up like a red lantern. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment before gently pressing the button. Very quickly, in less than 10 seconds, there was a knock on the door. When he opened the door, he saw an Ing, who was smiling. What's the matter? Lin Feng asked curiously. It's like this, Mr. Lin Feng. Someone brought you something. And Ying's eyes shone with different colors, and the way she looked at Lin Feng was completely different. During these 3 days, the news of the battle between Lin Feng and Ji Xia had already spread throughout the streets and alleys of Green Mist City. Everyone knew that a heaven-defying genius had appeared in the colored jade sect. Taking the envelope and scabbard from an ing, Lin Feng's eyes flashed with indescribable confusion. However, when he looked carefully at the scabbard, Lin Feng was shocked. This is... Lin Feng's eyes glinted coldly. Little jade scabbard. On the scabbard, the symbol of the colored jade sect was clearly visible. Something's wrong. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and his expression changed greatly. He raised his head and asked, "Do you know the person who delivered the letter?" And Ying's eyes flashed, as if she understood something, but she shook her head. "Okay, I got it," Lin Feng said in a deep voice. And Ying hesitated slightly and said, "Mr. Linwan, is there anything I can do to help?" "No, thank you." Lin Feng declined. Since this matter was directed at him, there was no need to complicate matters. Besides, he wasn't very familiar with an Ying, and the fewer people who knew about this, the better. "Okay, if you need anything, an Ying will be happy to help at any time." An Ying smiled slightly, then considerately left and closed the door. Looking at the scabbard with burning eyes, Lin Feng knew exactly what had happened. For a martial artist, a weapon was his left and right hand. The scabbard never left his body. But, opening the letter, Lin Feng's eyes reddened. "If you want the people of the colored jade sect to live, come to Yuling Valley alone in the south of the city." There was no signature on the letter, and the handwriting was sloppy, as if it was afraid of being recognized. At the end of the letter, a blood-red fingerprint was eye-catching. Although the letter didn't say what it was about, but everything was very clear. But Lin Feng gripped the letter tightly, his eyes filled with anger. Obviously, the other party had come for him, and the people of the colored jade sect had suffered an undeserved calamity. Bang! The devouring fire burned wildly, instantly burning the letter to ashes. Lin Feng's eyes were as ferocious as a demon's, and a cold, killing intent seeped out, suffocating people. "No matter who you are, I will make you pay the heaviest price." Lin Feng gnashed his teeth so hard that his teeth creaked. This time, he was really angry. Inside the manor in Yuling Valley. "He's here." Ding Hong put down the communication device, his eyes bright. "Good," Ding Ding said coldly, his right hand holding the tiger head on the wheelchair, revealing his killing intent. "We'll settle the old and new grudges together this time. We won't let Senior Brotherly die in vain." Ding Can gritted his teeth and said angrily. Only Ding Qing's eyes flickered with hesitation, and she didn't say anything. "Qing-er?" Ding Ding asked suspiciously. "Are you all right?" "I'm fine, grandfather. I know what to do." Ding Qing nodded lightly. "It's good that you know." Ding Ding's gaze was firm. "This time, we might not need you and Qing-er, but if we really face a crisis, don't drag down the entire operation because of your soft-heartedness." "Yes, grandfather," Ding Qing replied. Swoosh. Lin Feng was like a sharp arrow as he shot out. The blood in his eyes was as deep as the blood of hell. Lin Feng's expression was serious, and a thick killing intent flashed between his brows. He had to rescue the women of the Tsayu sect safely and unharmed. Otherwise, he would regret it for the rest of his life. After all, this happened because of him. His hatred completely exploded. A thick evil aura wrapped around Lin Feng's body as he sped above Green Smoke City. The crazy energy fluctuations made the other warriors all make way in shock. Who would dare to block that vigorous energy? "Isn't that Linwan? You must be mistaken. How can it be him? Oh, maybe I'm seeing things." Lin Feng's speed was too fast. Ordinary galaxy-level warriors could only see a shadow before he disappeared in an instant. The galaxy-level energy fluctuations made the other warriors retreat 3 feet. Although they were puzzled, no one said anything. Soon, Lin Feng flew out of Green Smoke City from the reflection tower. The noise in his ears suddenly disappeared, and in front of him was a huge empty space. The road ahead was clear. "But wait, Lin Feng!" A familiar and hurried shout sounded. Lin Feng was suddenly startled. A light flashed in his blood-red eyes, and he stopped in his tracks. That was Senior High? Lin Feng's gaze focused as he looked at the person who came. It was Wei Hai. Phew, I almost didn't make it. Wei Hai panted, and his eyes suddenly brightened. Lin Feng, don't go. This is a trap. Looking deeply at Wei Hai, Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. He slowly said, was it done by Wind Rise Valley? Going to Yuling Valley, other than himself, only the culprit knew. Yes. Wei Hai nodded without hesitation. It was Senior Brother and the others who did it. They purposely sent me away so that I could return to Fengyang Valley in advance. As he spoke, Wei Hai shook his head solemnly. Senior Brother knows that you and I have a close relationship. He was afraid that I would ruin things. Lin Feng clenched his right fist tightly, and his eyes burned with anger. He did not expect that not killing at Wind Rise Valley that day would cause such trouble. Ding Hong! Lin Feng gritted his teeth, and his hatred shot to the top of his head. Sigh, Senior Brother has changed. Wei Hai sighed. Back then, we learned together and built Wind Rise Valley together. I didn't expect that after Senior Brother became the sect master, he would gradually be influenced by power, becoming selfish and greedy for power. Wei Hai's eyes were filled with desolation. In the past, he would never have done such a heinous thing. People always change, Lin Feng said solemnly. Along the way, hadn't he been changing as well? To adapt to the world, to live, to survive, he had to change. Don't go, Lin Feng, Wei Hai said seriously. In addition to Senior Brother and the others, there is a huge force behind them that wants to deal with you. As far as I know, there are already 100 men of sacrifice lying in ambush in Yuling Valley to kill you. If you go, I'm afraid you will be doomed. I'm really honored. Lin Feng smiled self-deprecatingly. However, he could not think of when he had offended one force after another. Lin Feng will destroy the tree that stands out. Wei Hai sighed. Brother Lin Feng, you are too sharp, and it is inevitable that people covet you. Most importantly, Wei Hai's eyes were bright. There is no force behind you, so they are unrestrained. Force. What a heavy word. In the Douling world, there were endless forces everywhere. Even a small green smoke city had close to 1,000 sects, gangs, families, and so on. One chopstick was easy to break, but 100 chopsticks were not easy to break. Everyone understood this. After all, the strength of one person was limited. Thank you, Senior High, Lin Feng said seriously. He had no power or influence, but Wei Hai was willing to stand up and help him. This friendship was very rare. One had to know that Wei Hai's position in Wind Rise Valley was very high. His action was tantamount to betraying the sect. You are welcome. I am just doing my duty, Wei Hai said seriously. When I was learning martial arts, Master once said that one should not bury one's heart. Senior Brother's actions have already deviated from the right path, and have gone against the purpose of establishing Wind Rise Valley. I can't stay in Wind Rise Valley any longer, and I don't want to stay any longer. Once I get Xian Air back, I will seek refuge with my big brother. Wei Hai's eyes were bright as he looked at Lin Feng. Brother Lin, why don't you follow me? We can take care of each other. Lin Feng shook his head indifferently. Wei Hai was slightly disappointed, but he did not care. Brother Lin Feng, thank you for your kindness, Senior. Lin Feng revealed a grateful expression. Lin Feng will remember this kindness. But I have no choice but to go to Serene Silk Valley. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. The people of Tsiyu sect were captured because of me. The one who tied the bell should untie it. This is my responsibility, my duty. Lin Feng's expression was firm, and his words were sonorous. I will never bury my heart. Lin Feng, you. Wei Hai was shocked. Don't worry, Senior High. Lin Feng's eyes shone with a fierce light. I will be fine. I will let them know what the price of angering me is. Lin Feng's killing intent appeared, and his eyes were as red as an azura's. They are dead meat. Adding, I heard bad news yesterday. Sigh, I directly beat Xiao Xiao from the top of the cliff to the bottom of the valley. No matter what, continue to work hard. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 471. South of the city, Yuling Valley. At this time, the sky was not completely bright yet. A hazy feeling shrouded the entire valley, dense fog. This valley's scenery was beautiful, unique and beautiful. It was indeed a place with pleasant scenery, a good place to enjoy life. Ta! In the void, a figure fell in an arc. Lin Feng's burning eyes shone with a sharp light. His eyes were deep like a black hole. Faint killing intent leaked out of his body. A bloody light flashed in his eyes. Raising his head, Lin Feng looked at the huge signboard. The words, Yuling Valley, were written on it. You've been waiting for a long time. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. I'm here. The deep voice carried a bit of coldness. This time, it was extremely dangerous. 100 death warriors, and 10 of them are Star Sea level warriors. Lin Feng's eyes deepened, plus the 3rd level Star Sea level Ding Hong and the 4th level Star Sea level Ding Ding, a total of 12 Star Sea level warriors. He was sure. Because of Wei Hai's help, he knew the enemy's strength clearly. I can't be careless. According to what Senior Hai said, Ding Ding alone is not inferior to Ji Xia. Lin Feng's expression was solemn. That day in the battle with Li Ming, he had seen Ding Ding sitting in a wheelchair like a lonely old man, unremarkable. He did not expect that he was actually a powerful person. The people of the Colored Jade sect must be saved, but I can't blindly save them. Lin Feng thought. The enemy had set up an inescapable net for him. If he just fell in like this, that was really a 9 out of 10 chance of survival. Wing! Lin Feng's left eye instantly lit up. The red and green light suddenly appeared. A bright red, tall plant like a devil's snare flower instantly appeared. It was more than 10 meters long. It swayed and took root as soon as it touched the ground. Yuling Valley was full of soil, the most suitable for plant life. You've recovered well. Lin Feng smiled. After a period of rest, Wing's strength had recovered by 20 to 30%. Boss, what dangerous thing do you want me to do now? Wing wanted to cry. Every time it recovered a little, it would be summoned out by Lin Feng. The last time was the worst. He had recovered 70% of his strength with great difficulty, but in the end, he had been summoned as cannon fodder to fight against the Gomang shamans. In the end, his body and soul had almost been destroyed. However, Wing had no choice but to sign the contract and become Lin Feng's exclusive Fei. This time should be a good thing for you. Lin Feng's eyes glinted strangely. Wing was pleasantly surprised. You're not lying to me, are you, boss? Of course. Lin Feng smiled faintly. Hidden Silk Valley, on the only mountain path to the entrance. There were hundreds of men of sacrifice lying in ambush on both sides, patiently waiting for Lin Feng's arrival. The weakest was at least level 7 Cosmic River State, and there were 10 Cosmic Sea States. The 2 captains, Cheetah and Spotted Leopard, both reached level 2 Cosmic Sea State. The strongest captain, Mad Leopard, not only reached level 3 Cosmic Sea State, but he also comprehended Cosmic Force and had reached level 2 Cosmic Sea State. He was even stronger than Ding Hong and only slightly weaker than Ding Ding. In order to kill Lin Feng, the Liu family had paid a huge price. What's going on? Why isn't that Lin Feng coming in? Mad Leopard frowned and said coldly. I don't know. He's just standing at the entrance of the valley, not moving at all. Cheetah had a scar on his face. Maybe he's testing and waiting for us. Spotted Leopard's eyes were burning. Mad Leopard snorted, and his eyes glinted sharply. Quite cautious. Competing with us in patience? Let's play with you and see who can't hold it in first. Mad Leopard was very confident in his subordinate. Every one of them had undergone professional death warrior training. Lying in ambush and waiting for 10 days and 10 nights was no problem. In the sunken valley, masked men in black clothes concealed their presence and did not move at all. In particular, the thick fog concealed their figures perfectly. The 100 men of sacrifice formed a huge circular encirclement. It was like a bottle with a big belly, and only the top was open. However, they, who were waiting for their prey, did not know that they had already become the prey. Sure enough, there are really men of sacrifice lying in ambush. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Sharing the vision of the winged bug, the so-called ambush of these men of sacrifice was simply a joke to him. Rather than calling it an ambush, it was better to call it food that could not move. In an instant, Lin Feng's eyes were filled with coldness. If they advanced a foot, he would advance 10 feet. Since the enemy was determined to kill him, then, he would not show mercy. Let's begin, Wing. Lin Feng shouted. It was the men of sacrifice in black who were lying in ambush. They were motionless like stone statues. Suddenly, his right leg was numb, and his expression changed drastically. Before he could react, his left leg also staggered, and his body fell to the ground. A sharp pain attacked his heart. He glanced over and saw that his ankles were pitch black, as if they were corroding. It was extremely horrifying. The most eye-catching thing was a black poisonous bug at the bottom of his feet. Its back was arched and there were spikes on it. It was biting his skin and flesh as if it was eating food. The men of sacrifice in black screamed in horror. At this moment, heart-shaking shouts rose and fell one after another. Almost at the same time, the 100 men of sacrifice were attacked by the winged bug at the same time. The winged bug that had once easily broken through Lin Feng's defense could now easily break through the defense of a galaxy-grade martialist. It's poisonous! No. No. Help! The screams resounded through the valley, and all the men of sacrifice turned pale. No one had expected that instead of the prey, they would be greeted by these terrifying poisonous bugs. The poison seeped into the blood, and the winged bug instantly laid larvae. It followed the blood vessels like a tunnel, and slowly nibbled away the entire body. The winged bug that Lin Feng could not do anything about back then was showing its true power for the first time. It launched an attack from within the body. It was extremely terrifying. Damn it, what is this strange thing? Wild Leopard gritted his teeth in horror. The strength chi exploded as it stepped on several winged insects to death. Wild Leopard's expression was extremely ugly at this moment. Although this small thing could not bite through his defense, but, at this moment, his subordinates were in trouble. The winged bug's attack is 1/10 of the wing itself. Lin Feng's expression was calm. Level 6 galaxy level could break through the defense of level 3 galaxy level and below. The 100 men of sacrifice, except for one, were all affected. The poison spread extremely quickly, rising from the legs. The more winged bugs entered the body, the faster the body's functions were destroyed. In the winged bug's field of vision, Lin Feng could vaguely hear the cries and screams that filled the entire valley. That was a true tragedy. The winged bug ate the body. But, you asked for it. Lin Feng's eyes were extremely cold. Since the battle had started, he would not be merciful. If he did not kill them all, they would die, it would be him. In the manner. What's that sound outside? Ding Qing's expression changed slightly. The battle has begun. Ding Hong sneered. That Lin Feng seems to be quite tenacious. 100 men of sacrifice, I'll see how he dies. Ding Can's eyes were filled with jealousy and hatred. Don't underestimate the enemy. Ding Ding frowned and said, since that Lin Feng can defeat Jixia, he does have some skills. We have to be careful. As he spoke, a light flashed across Ding Ding's eyes. He had seen the battle with Li Ming with his own eyes. This Lin Feng had a treasure that could create a magnetic explosion. It was very dangerous. Let those men of sacrifice take the lead. Even if Lin Feng can pass the first round, he will be an arrow at the end of its flight by this time. At that time, it will be easy to capture him. The older the ginger, the spicier it was. Ding Ding had already calculated it clearly. His plan was flawless. But plans could never catch up with changes. Especially Lin Feng's methods. How could the people of Fengyang Valley understand them? Save me! Help me! Help me! The 100 men of sacrifice were completely flustered. Damn it, what the hell is this? Mad Leopard grabbed his hair crazily and hysterically. Antidotes and immortal fruits were useless. The heaven and earth chi couldn't stop the invasion of the poison at all. His body gradually became numb, and even his central nervous system was slowly damaged. It spread through his blood at an extremely fast speed. From his calf to his thigh, from his thigh to his lower abdomen, the poison invaded his body crazily. Other than him, the other 99 men of sacrifice were all affected. Even the cheetah and leopard, who were level 2 star sea states, were also ravaged. They were only slightly better than the other men of sacrifice. In fact, it wasn't impossible. It was just that the true source of this poison was the two-winged larva, not the poison. That day, Lin Feng's devouring fire happened to be able to restrain it. But the men of sacrifice didn't have this ability. Other than Mad Leopard, the rest of the warriors could only do their best to circulate the heaven and earth chi to slow down the spread of the larva. But they couldn't get rid of the root. As time passed and their energy was exhausted, the call of the Grim Reaper, it was getting closer and closer. No, don't. His voice was trembling. One of the men of sacrifice's face was completely pale. The black beetle on his chest was wriggling very obviously, devouring his organs. He wasn't afraid of death, but such a cowardly way to die was too aggrieved. Pung! He collapsed on the ground. Even his heart was devoured. The man of sacrifice no longer had any vitality. The skin on his chest was torn open, revealing hideous black beetles. Their small eyes were cold and emotionless. Almost at the same time, the men of sacrifice in the valley fell one after another. There was no blood, only blackened corpses. The remaining flesh was all eaten by the newly born larvae. The scene was extremely horrifying and disgusting. As more and more larvae appeared, the corpses were eaten clean in the blink of an eye. Not even a speck of dust was left, much less bones. What's going on? What's going on? Mad Leopard clenched his fist. His veins were bulging, and his eyes were filled with flames of fury. He had never seen such a strange scene before. He was really panicking. At this moment, a terrifying cold light descended from the sky. Like an assassin in the darkness, a ghost, it broke through the air with an extremely shocking aura. Killing intent was revealed. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Increasing his speed, Lin Feng's eyes flashed with killing intent. Right now, he had more important things to do. Everyone, please be safe. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. In the manner. He's here. Ding Ding's expression was solemn. How could this be? Ding Hong's eyes were filled with doubt. They could vaguely hear the voices outside. The 100 death warriors couldn't stop Lin Feng alone. No, impossible. Ding Can's face turned pale instantly. His eyes were filled with fear. Why are you panicking? Ding Ding shouted, his eyes flashing with a cold and sharp light. Yen Qing follow the original plan. Yes, grandfather. Ding Can nodded. Ding Qing hesitated for a moment before nodding as well. Ding Ding looked at Ding Hong. His white hair looked extremely ferocious. Let's go. Let's meet that little bastard. I want to see if he really has 3 heads and 6 arms. This is the place. Lin Feng's eyes were cold. In front of him was a huge manor. It was unique in this valley and not difficult to find. Lin Feng stepped on the ground and looked straight ahead. At the entrance, 2 figures gradually appeared. One was a white-haired man with a white python spear in his hand. It was Fengyang Valley's sect master Ding Hong. The other was a white-haired old man who had lost his legs and was sitting in a wheelchair. It was Great Elder Ding Ding. Huh! Ding Ding's eyes were cold. He was puzzled when he saw that Lin Feng was unharmed, as if nothing had happened. Ding Hong frowned. There was a commotion just now. The 100 death warriors tried their best to kill Lin Feng. Now there was no blood on his body at all. It didn't make sense. However, Lin Feng didn't have time to pay attention to them. He said coldly, "Release the people of Caifei's sect, and I will let bygones be bygones." Let bygones be bygones. Ding Hong gritted his teeth and said coldly, "You killed my sect's disciples first and ruined Fengyang Valley's reputation. Now you killed my sect's most outstanding disciple. Lin Feng, you still want to let bygones be bygones? How magnanimous of you!" His voice was filled with mockery and contempt. Ding Hong's hatred for Lin Feng was no less than Li Ming's. Let bygones be bygones? Who was he talking to? Since he had done it, there was no turning back. Good, very good. Ding Ding clapped his hands. His eyes were bright. Lin Feng, right? It seems that you are a sentimental man. Are you very concerned about those girls from Caifei's sect? If you surrender now, I'll do as you wish and let those girls go. Don't worry, we will not take your life. Ding Ding nodded and said, Wang Feng and Xian Er's matter is very suspicious. We just want to ask you to cooperate and reinvestigate. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. Do you think I am a 3-year-old child? Such a trick was simply childish. Ding Ding's mouth twitched and he said indifferently, They are in our hands. You have no choice but to obey. Lin Feng's eyes flickered. What if I don't agree? Ding Ding sneered. Then they can only blame themselves for finding a fickle lover. You will see each other in the underworld. Lin Feng smiled and said indifferently, Kill them. What? Ding Ding and Ding Hong's expressions changed. At this moment, miserable screams came from the manor. Ding Ding's eyes widened. Those screams belonged to Yen Er and Qing Er. Clearly, something had happened inside. Lin Feng, you. Ding Hong's expression changed. Just as he shouted, he suddenly realized that Lin Feng's brows suddenly lit up. Suddenly, a red and green light appeared. A tall, bright red plant appeared in an instant. Its astonishing branches danced in the air like numerous poisonous snakes. In an instant, it split into 2 and attacked Ding Ding and Ding Hong. Wing. A star sea level 6 wood spirit. After completely absorbing the 99 death warriors, Wing had been reborn and was in high spirits. He had recovered nearly 70% of his strength. One must know that Wing, who had recovered 70% of his strength, could face the Gomang shamans who were stronger than him. Although he was used as cannon fodder, he had to be able to block them. In terms of attack power, Wing might not be considered strong, but in terms of endurance and control, Wing was quite capable. Chi. Ding Ding reacted extremely quickly. Golden light appeared in his right hand instantly. Accompanied by the sound of breaking air, it attacked the dancing branches. Golden light filled the sky, covering the earth. Ding Ding, whose legs were crippled, had trained his hands to the extreme. However, Ding Hong was clearly not so powerful. Facing the dozen or so branches flying straight at him, he appeared extremely flustered. The white python spear in his hand shook violently. Panic flashed in his eyes. It was a good game of chess, but it had inexplicably lost its momentum. Until now, Ding Hong could not figure out what had happened in the manor. This manor was sealed, and the people of the colored jade sect were imprisoned in the basement. It was extremely hidden. However, from the sounds just now, something had really happened to Ding Can and Ding Qing. But now he had no time to think. Those 10 branches danced. Not only were their attack speed extremely fast, but their attack angle was also extremely strange. In addition, there were many branches. In an instant, Ding Hong was exhausted from running for his life. He used his white python spear to defend with all his might. He was very passive. Fighting 1 against 2, Wing was not inferior at all. That day, he was first heavily injured by Lin Feng and almost tortured to death. Then, he became cannon fodder and was almost killed by the Go-Mang shaman race. Wing felt that he had not been so proud for a long time. He had almost forgotten that he was a level 6 star sea-level wood spirit. Today, he first killed 99 death warriors, then faced a level 4 star sea-level and a level 3 star sea-level warrior. It was done with ease. This was his true strength. Where's old sir? Wing was about to show off with a smug face when he suddenly realized that Lin Feng, who was beside him just now, had disappeared without a trace. At this moment, behind Ding Hong, a thick black fog instantly appeared. Lin Feng descended like a ghost, bringing with him a strong wind pressure that swept away everything around him. Pang Rant's aura was mixed with earth-shattering sounds, forming an extremely low pressure. Like a hurricane, the eye of the storm instantly appeared. Spear intent was completely released. This is... Ding Hong's expression changed greatly. At this moment, he, who was restrained by Wing's attack, had no way to retreat. He gritted his teeth. Star power! Ding Hong roared. His body instantly seemed to expand, and his muscles became extremely firm. Red light surrounded his body, bringing with it a lightning-like magnetic force. It was extremely similar to Ji Xia's star power explosion, but the difference was too great. If Ji Xia's star power explosion was compared to an immortal fruit, then Ding Hong was just an ordinary spirit fruit. They were not on the same level at all. Not to mention, Lin Feng could even break through the defense of Ji Xia, who was going all out. What was Ding Hong? Storm Spear Art. Lin Feng's figure pierced through. The Nightmare Demon Spear's fiery red body was extremely shocking and dazzling. The ferocious rebirth flame crazily rose, shooting straight at the shocked Ding Hong. The battle at Wind Rise Valley that day appeared in his mind. How similar was it to now? No! Ding Hong hysterically shouted. Sun Dragon Spear Art, Second Spear Art. His physical force instantly exploded, releasing a bright light. Ding Hong was also going all out. But, is it useful? The corner of Lin Feng's mouth raised slightly. Back then, he was only a level 7 star river, but now, he was a level 1 star sea. Back then, he had only used the Sun Dragon Spear Art, but now, he was using the Storm Spear Art. His strength had completely transformed. Back then, he could defeat Ding Hong. What about now? Die. Lin Feng's eyes showed no mercy. The Nightmare Demon Spear seemed to have turned into a long whip, forming a spiral shape with crazy flames. Purring! There was an astonishing sound of collision. The rebirth flame combined with the spear intent caused the power to erupt completely in an instant. Ding Hong felt an earth-shattering attack descending like the god of thunder. The White Python Spear and the Nightmare Demon Spear intersected, and the same spear intent was instantly shattered and defeated. And that extremely fierce sharp light brought with it a blazing fire. At this moment, it suddenly exploded. Chi! The Nightmare Demon Spear penetrated Ding Hong's left chest, and extremely fierce flames erupted. Bang! In an instant, Ding Hong turned into ashes. Second update, don't say much, work hard to update. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 473. No! Ding Ding's eyes were bloodshot. Seeing Ding Hong die, he couldn't even move an inch. He was completely pinned down by Wing and couldn't rescue him. Not to mention Lin Feng's attack was too fast. It was as fast as lightning. Ta! After killing Ding Hong, Lin Feng didn't stop at all. Perhaps to others, Ding Hong, who was a third-level star sea state, was a powerful being, but to him, Ding Hong was too weak. There's one more. Lin Feng's eyes were bright as he attacked Ding Ding. Since the battle had begun, there was no need to hesitate. He couldn't let go of this ordinary-looking Wind Rise Valley Great Elder. Either he didn't do it, or he would do it thoroughly. Don't be too arrogant. Ding Ding gritted his teeth, his eyes revealing a deep red light. In an instant, the wheelchair flew up, radiating cold light. Ding Ding's hands released golden light one after another. His left elbow was dazzling, and his aura completely erupted. The original situation of being evenly matched with Wing was immediately broken. A burst of fierce attacks instantly suppressed Wing. The flying branches were cut off, and at this time, Ding Ding's body suddenly erupted with power. Star power, second level. Ding Ding shouted, his eyes revealing a trace of determination. Crazy aura filled the air. Silver star power spiraled around his body like threads condensing into a dragon shape. It was completely different from Ding Hong and Ji Xia's star power. Not only that, Ding Ding's hands suddenly expanded. The aura and power of his left and right hands were released, and his potential erupted. Retreat! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The wind whirlpool at his right foot suddenly flashed, and his body that was charging forward unbelievably retreated. Thousands of small holes crazily condensed aura. Lin Feng's heart inexplicably trembled, feeling a trace of extreme danger. Want to leave? Can you? Ding Ding gritted his teeth like a ferocious ghost. Let's die together, little bastard. As his voice fell, golden light appeared in Ding Ding's hands again. However, this time, the earth-shattering golden light condensed into a silver halo. Together with the star power amplification, it formed a sky full of arrows, falling straight down like a meteor shower. The speed was so fast that one could only see the light and shadow, but not the shape. Ding Ding was going all out. So fast. Lin Feng was shocked. The speed at which the hidden weapon was unleashed was inconceivable. If he hadn't retreated quickly enough, now he had probably been shot into a hornet's nest. However, the danger still existed. Space deceleration. Lin Feng's eyes instantly changed. An astonishing amount of heaven and earth chi condensed and exploded at the center of the silver light, forming a huge magnetic field that enveloped the golden light and silver rings, instantly slowing them down. At this moment the black fog condensed. Lin Feng quickly retreated, causing his terrifying speed to decrease by a fraction. Flame of rebirth. Lin Feng's eyes burned as flames appeared in his hands. Boom! Rumble! As their powers collided, the attacks that had been continuously slowed down became weaker and weaker. However, the hidden weapon with the silver starlight was still extremely powerful. It pierced through the defense constructed by the rebirth flame like a needle. Hiss! Hiss! Penetrating his defenses, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He immediately felt some pain. The golden light effortlessly drilled into his body, but that was all. No, impossible! Ding Ding's face was pale. He had used all his killing moves and exploded his star power. He had exhausted all his means. However, this Lin Feng in front of him effortlessly withstood it and only suffered some minor injuries. He clearly didn't comprehend star power. How can he be so strong? Ding Ding's eyes were unfocused, and his expression was a little dull. At this moment, Wing, who had been forced to retreat, attacked again. As if he felt embarrassed, Wing went all out. Dozens of branches danced in the air, forming a huge circle that completely enveloped Ding Ding. That was close. Lin Feng's chest rose and fell slightly. After being weakened 3 times, the hidden weapon's power was much weaker than before. Although it broke through his defenses, it couldn't cause any fatal damage. Lin Feng's eyes turned cold. The flame of rebirth in his body instantly forced out the golden light. Pa! It was a strange hidden weapon that was shaped like a sharp needle. Its structure was very strange. Powerful. Lin Feng was amazed. This was his first time fighting with a martial artist who was good at hidden weapons. The size of the Dou Ling world was indeed shocking. First, it was Ji Xia, then Ding Ding. In just a few days, he had met 2 opponents who were not weaker than him. The difference, its star power. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. At this moment, the thought in his mind was very clear. Be it Ji Xia or Ding Ding, the reason why he was in such a sorry state was because of star power. Only with star power could one be considered a true star C-level expert. The battle was still ongoing. Although Ding Ding's explosive power was shocking, unlike Ji Xia, Ding Ding's star power weakened very quickly after the explosion. As if his energy was draining, the silver light surrounding his body became dimmer and dimmer. At this moment, Ding Ding was already an arrow at the end of its flight. In terms of endurance, how could Ding Ding compare to Wing? The difference was too big. Even without Lin Feng, with Wing's ability, as long as there was enough time, he could wear Ding Ding down. Not to mention now, let's end this. Lin Feng's figure appeared like a ghost. Fierce and powerful with a fiery red glow, the nightmare demon's spear blasted out an intense wind pressure, completely enveloping Ding Ding. For warriors who were good at hidden weapons, once they were closed in, it would be the greatest tragedy. Because they were not good at defense. Chi! The nightmare demon's spear pierced through in an instant. The flame of rebirth exploded, and flames shot out in all directions. In an instant, the shocking flames boiled and swallowed Ding Ding. Ta! Lin Feng landed and picked up Ding Ding's storage ring. Looking at the swaying Wing, he gave him a thumbs up. This time, Wing had helped him a lot. In a short period of time, he killed 2 star C-level experts. If it was only me this time, not to mention those 100 death warriors. If it was just Ding Ding and Ding Hong, I might not have 100% confidence. Lin Feng stepped into the manor with a stern expression. Ding Hong and Ding Ding, 1 close combat and 1 long-range attack. If they really worked together, their power would not be as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. My luck is not bad. Lin Feng smiled faintly. The manor was huge and had an antique feel, full of charm. Although there were many rooms, Lin Feng seemed to be familiar with the place. After passing through a few passages, he instantly entered a small storeroom. This is the place. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Sharing the vision of the winged bug, he was clear about the layout of the entire manor. Lifting the thick stone bed, a flight of stairs appeared in front of him. Lin Feng's lips curved indifferently, and he immediately walked down. The air was slightly humid, and there were weak panting sounds by his ear. Lin Feng walked down the stairs, and his eyes suddenly opened up. It was a square basement. 300 square meters was not big, but it was more than enough to lock up a few people. Lin Feng looked into the depths of the basement. Pei Hong, Pei Qing, Little Jade, and Lei Dao were tightly bound by chains, and their mouths were covered with cloth. When they saw him, they immediately looked wild with joy. Beside them, the 2 women were half lying on the ground, their faces pale. Their feet were completely black, especially Ding Kansas. Because she was weaker than Ding Qing, the poison had spread to her chest, and she was in excruciating pain. The most striking thing was the dagger in her hand, still stained with blood. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. Following the blood trail, he saw several deep wounds on Pei Hong's thigh, bleeding. Gritting his teeth, Lin Feng walked toward Ding Kansas. When the 2 women saw Lin Feng, they were shocked and in disbelief. Ding Kan's eyes were filled with deep malice and resentment. Lin Feng. Ding Kan's voice was very weak, but she was gnashing her teeth. But bang! He kicked out fiercely. Lin Feng's eyes were ferocious, without the slightest bit of mercy. Even if a StarCraft expert did not use the slightest bit of energy, his physical strength alone was already tyrannical. Bang! There was a shocking crash. Ding Can fell like a kite with a broken string against the iron wall and fell heavily to the ground, vomiting blood. Her already heavily injured body was instantly injured, and her face was extremely pale. Scum! Lin Feng clenched his teeth. He looked at Ding Qing, whose eyes were filled with a complicated and fearful expression. Lin Feng's eyes were clear, but he turned around and walked toward the Caiyusec. Ding Can and Ding Qing had been bitten by the winged insects and were poisoned. There was no need for him to do anything. Killing them would only dirty his hands. After untying the Caiyusec, Lin Feng let out a long sigh of relief. Seeing that everyone was safe and sound, he was happier than anything else. If anything happened to them because of him, he would feel guilty for the rest of his life. Apart from Lei Dao and Pei Hong, who were slightly injured, Pei Qing and Xiao Lu were fine. Here, eat this. Lin Feng took out 2 fruits of life and handed them to Pei Hong and Lei Dao. After the 2 of them ate it, Pei Hong's face turned slightly red, and the wound on her thigh slowly stopped bleeding. Thank you, Lin De Go. Pei Qing and Lei Dao both showed gratitude. Lin De Go, Xiao Lu thought I would never see you again. Xiao Lu sobbed softly, but she was crying tears of joy. I've caused you trouble again, Pei Hong said softly. Lin Feng shook his head and said with a little guilt, I'm the one who caused you trouble. Their target was me. He felt lucky that he had winged helpers. If those people from the Wind Valley threatened him with the women, he would be in a dilemma. Lin De Go, they. Xiao Lu pointed at Ding Qing and Ding Qing curiously, feeling incredulous. They. Lin Feng glanced at the 2 women indifferently and said indifferently, they are not far from death. The winged insect's poison is incurable. After saying that, Ding Qing and Ding Qing's faces turned pale. Looking at the 2 women, Lin Feng smiled softly. I forgot to tell you, don't take any chances. Those 100 death warriors have all died. Your sect leader and great elder have already gone to the Yellow Springs before you, so. Lin Feng's expression was cold, without the slightest pity. Enjoy your last moments. Soon, the winged insects will crawl all over your bodies. They will devour you completely. To be continued, today's 3rd update. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 474. As soon as he finished speaking, everyone's expression changed. Not only did Ding Can and Ding Qing tremble, but even Pei Hong and the others felt their hearts palpitate. Winged insects. Thinking of the scene of them being bitten by 10,000 insects, Ding Can and Ding Qing's beautiful faces turned pale, and their courage shattered. Lin De Go, isn't this too cruel? Xiao Lu bit her lips and couldn't help but ask. Don't feel pity, Xiao Lu. Pei Qing's eyes flickered as she said softly, if Lin De Go hadn't come in time today, perhaps we would have been killed. Pei Hong turned her head slightly, feeling a little reluctant. Among the girls, Pei Qing was the calmest, while Pei Hong was the most soft-hearted despite her careless appearance. They deserve this, Lei Dao said with a firm voice. Lei Dao said, looking at Ding Kansas, especially her. Just now, she wanted to skin senior apprentice Sister Hong alive. Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he stared at Ding Kansas. This girl who looked like a pure girl had a dark and vicious heart. Indeed, one couldn't judge a book by its cover. The incident with Xian Er that day was already a warning. Being able to kill her fellow disciples without hesitation was enough to show her character. As ugly as a scorpion, Ding Can's face darkened as a sharp pain attacked her heart. At this time, the winged insect had almost bitten her chest. She was only a hair's breadth away from death. Ding Can's breathing became rapid, and her expression kept changing. Save me, Lin Feng. I beg you, I beg you. I know I was wrong. The fear of death attacked her heart. Ding Can's tears fell like rain as she kept begging. However, Lin Feng was indifferent, as if he didn't hear her. He just looked at her indifferently, as if he was looking at a statue. I beg you, let me live. I'm willing to serve you like an ox or a horse. Ding Can's eyes were filled with despair as she desperately tried to grasp at the last straw. Her tears and snot mixed together. Her expression was unbearable. Pei Hong bit her lips and said, Lin Feng, she seems to know she was wrong. Why don't you let her go? Sister, have you forgotten how she treated you just now? Pei Qing said. This. Pei Hong's expression changed slightly, and she couldn't help but say, everyone makes mistakes. Why don't we give her a chance to turn over a new leaf? Lin Feng sighed softly, secretly thinking that Pei Hong was indeed kind-hearted. In the face of a vicious murderer who wanted to hurt her and skin her alive, he actually wanted to let her go. But a leopard cannot change its spots, Lin Feng said slowly, his eyes cold. Cutting the grass without removing the roots will only lead to endless troubles. Let her go? That was impossible. Lin Feng was well aware of the dangers of releasing a tiger back into the mountains. Some people never knew how to be grateful. To be merciful to the enemy was to be cruel to oneself. No, I will change. I really know I was wrong. I beg you, Lin Feng, let me go. I'm willing to be an ox, Ding Can hurriedly said. But, the faster his blood flowed, the faster the poison spread. Before she could finish her last sentence, the winged insect had already entered her chest through her blood. Horrifying black spots were densely packed as the winged insects gnawed at Ding Can's heart, ending her final life in an instant. Looking at the horrifying scene, everyone felt their hearts tremble. Especially Pei Hong and Little Jade. They turned their heads away, not daring to look. The black beetles were densely packed, making one's hair stand on end. Ding Qing's face was pale, and she pursed her lips tightly, not saying a word. Thinking that she would end up like this when the time came, a hint of despair appeared in her eyes. Lin Feng, she's actually not a bad person. Pei Hong looked at Ding Qing and couldn't help but say. Yes, Lin de go. If she hadn't stopped us just now, that bad woman would have really skinned senior sister Hong and us alive, Little Jade also pleaded. Pei Qing and Lei Dao didn't say anything, only looking at Lin Feng. No matter what decision Lin Feng made, they wouldn't have any objections. At this moment, tap tap. Footsteps sounded. Lin Feng looked up and saw a familiar figure appear on the stairs. Senior Hai, why are you here? Lin Feng asked in surprise. I was worried about you, so I came to take a look, Wei Hai said. Why is there no one outside? Looking around in surprise, Wei Hai's eyes widened when he saw Ding Qing and the dead Ding Kansas. This is Ding Can. Lin Feng felt touched. Regardless of whether Senior Hai helped him or not, this kindness was hard to come by. They didn't have much of a friendship, but Senior Hai had helped him time and time again without asking for anything in return. Thank you, Senior Hai. Lin Feng nodded gently. Don't mention it. Wei Hai saw the winged insects on Ding Can's body and couldn't bear to see it. Suddenly, he looked at Ding Qing and saw that there was a black spot on her lower abdomen. In a split second, he understood everything. He hurriedly said, Lin Feng, quickly cure Qing of the poison. She was forced to do this. She was the one who tipped me off. Lin Feng's eyes flashed as he looked deeply at Ding Qing. The latter was biting her lips, her eyes filled with fear. Save? To save or not to save? Life or death, Lin Feng could decide with a single thought. Whoosh! Light flashed between his eyebrows. Lin Feng shouted softly, Wing! Instantly, red and green light flashed, and a bright red, tall plant that looked like a devil's snare flower appeared. Wood spirit! Wei Hai was shocked. He looked at Lin Feng with an incredulous expression. With his experience, How could he not see the relationship between this wood spirit and Lin Feng? Now that it had appeared, could it be Wei Hai wasn't the only one who was shocked? Everyone from Colored Jade sect was stunned. Feeling the power of Wing and the shocking aura it emitted, they felt suffocated. Even Ding Qing's beautiful eyes were wide open. She was completely stupefied. Detoxify her, Lin Feng said to Wing. Even if he didn't give face to the monk, he still had to give face to the Buddha. Since Senior Hai had spoken, he had no reason to refuse. If a person advanced a foot, he would advance 10 feet. Moreover, according to what Pei Hong and the others had said, Ding Qing didn't seem to be a bad person. She would forgive people whenever possible. If it wasn't necessary, he didn't want to kill this weak girl. Yes, boss, Wing replied. Whoosh! The branches flew past, and the flower buds above opened instantly. A strange rhythm filled the air, as if it was calling. Instantly, winged insects flew out from the bottom of Ding Qing's pitch-black feet. Adult insects and larvae, they were like warriors returning victorious. Looking at this scene, everyone was dumbfounded, especially Wei Hai. His mouth was wide open for a long time. He had never heard of such a unique wood spirit before. In the blink of an eye, more than half of the pitch-black color on Ding Qing's body was removed. As the last winged insect crawled out and entered the flower bud, Ding Qing's face was much rosier. Her heaving chest calmed down. Although her body was numb and there were still sequelae, at least her life was no longer in danger. The winged insects didn't have much venom. They only damaged the body's functions and numbed it. The truly destructive ones were the larvae. They would bite the body and absorb energy before constantly dividing, forming a cycle. Now that all the winged insects were gone, the poison was detoxified. It's done. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He plucked a leaf from Wing's branch and handed it to Wei Hai. Senior Hai, let her consume it. The remaining poison will be detoxified. Thank you. Wei Hai smiled. You're welcome, Senior Hai. Lin Feng smiled faintly. I'll leave this to you. I have something to do, so I'll leave first. When it's over, we'll meet at Fengyang Valley. All right. Wei Hai nodded. After watching Lin Feng and the others leave, Wei Hai let out a long breath. Fortunately, he had arrived in time. Otherwise, Ding Qing would have died like Ding Kansas. Although the two women were sisters, their personalities were worlds apart. Wei Hai didn't feel any pity for Ding Can's death. In fact, he already hated Ding Can for deliberately harming Xian. However, he didn't have any evidence. Secondly, he couldn't afford to offend Ding Can's backer, Ding Ding. But now serves her right. Wei Hai thought to himself, Uncle Master. After consuming the leaf, the poison in Ding Qing's body gradually disappeared. She let out a long breath and pursed her lips. Thank you for saving Qing Er's life. It has nothing to do with me. Wei Hai smiled and shook his head. Good will be rewarded and evil will be repaid. Qing you were kind and didn't join Senior Brother and the others. That's why you escaped today's calamity. With that said, Wei Hai's eyes turned cold. If you were as evil as Ding Can, he wouldn't have let you off even if I interceded for you today. Ding Qing sighed softly. She knew what happened to her sister, but they were related by blood. She couldn't help but feel sad. But what could she do? The strong preyed on the weak. This world was like that. If you wanted to eat others, you had to weigh your own strength first. If you provoked someone you shouldn't provoke, there was no medicine for regret. Oh right, Qing Wei Hai said doubtfully. Didn't you say that there were 100 death warriors lying in ambush here? And Senior Brother and Great Elder, where did they go? Ding Qing's expression was a little lonely. She shook her head bitterly. Wei Hai's heart suddenly thumped. 100 death warriors should be dead. Ding Qing said softly. Her eyes were filled with disbelief. Thinking of what Lin Feng said just now, her heart trembled. And grandfather and sect leader. At this time, They are already in the Yellow Springs. What? Wei Hai's eyes widened to the size of copper bells. You said that Lin Feng alone killed 100 death warriors, sect leader and great elder? Wei Hai's chest heaved up and down. He looked extremely shocked. That's impossible. Hidden Silk Valley. Lin Feng led the people from Colored Jade sect and flew at a fast speed. Linda Gu, I heard that they set up an inescapable trap to kill you. How did you get in? Little Jade asked curiously. Yes, Linda Gu. Pei Qing looked around curiously. Why didn't we see any traces of battle along the way? Lin Feng smiled. How could there be any traces of battle? Those 100 death warriors had long been devoured by Wing as nourishment. However, if he told the girls this, it would be a little too shocking. They were all chased away by Wing. After suffering this time, they should have learned to be smarter. Lin Feng's eyes flickered. Wing? Little Jade said in surprise. Linda Gu, is that the big red flower just now? Big red flower. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. Yes, second update, work hard to update and make up for what I owe. Xiao Xiao is very busy because she has to write another ending for traditional Chinese. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 475. Green Smoke City, Lu Mansion. What did you say? Lu Zhen widened his eyes. Patriarch, you underestimated the enemy. A voice that was neither servile nor overbearing was heard. It was a one-eyed man with a thin face and a gloomy face. Lu Long, I don't need you to teach me. Lu Zhen's face turned green as he gnashed his teeth. The one-eyed man was called Lu Long, Lu Zhen's younger brother. If one looked carefully, they looked similar. Lu Long said coldly, if my Tyrannosaurus Death Warrior Regiment was dispatched, it would be easy to kill Linwen. He paused and shook his head. Although the Wild Leopard Death Warrior Regiment's strength is mediocre, they have been trained for many years and can handle many small matters. This time, it's a pity. Lu Zhen's face turned green and white. Indeed, the Wild Leopard Death Warrior Regiment's annihilation had a great impact on the Lu family. In Green Smoke City, the Fong and Lu families had been fighting openly and secretly for many years. Each of them had secretly trained their own forces. The Lu family had 3 major Death Warrior regiments named Dragon, Tiger, and Leopard. Dragon was the strongest and Leopard was the weakest. Although the Wild Leopard Death Warrior Regiment was the weakest of the 3 Death Warrior regiments, the Lu family had spent a lot of money to train them. To enter the Death Warrior Regiment, one had to be completely loyal to the Lu family. How could Lin Wen be so powerful? Lu Zhen trembled with anger. With his strength alone, of course he isn't that powerful. Lu Long snorted. But Patriarch, have you ever thought that there might be some force behind Lin Wen? In my opinion, Lin Wen is an assassin secretly trained by the Fong family. He joined the Colored Jade sect just to confuse the public. Otherwise, how could a trash sect cultivate such a talent? Lu Zhen clenched his right fist. That makes sense. A few days ago, Lin Wen went to the Fong family's trading house. If he wasn't a member of the Fong family, how could he enter the top floor without any power or influence? Lu Long said in surprise. Patriarch, you were tricked by that old fox, Fong Tianxing. Lu Zhen tried hard to suppress his anger. Suddenly, damn it! Lu Zhen's expression changed. What's wrong? Lu Long frowned. If Lin Wen is a member of the Fong family, he will definitely enter the Green Smoke secret area. Lu Zhen's gaze changed. I was wondering what was going on. Lu Long sneered. Big brother, you're really scared out of your wits by Lin Wen. Don't forget that the Fong family is like a turtle hiding in its shell every year. They only dare to secretly send people into the Green Smoke secret domain. Lu Long's eyes brightened. That Lin Wen is nothing. With Fierce Tiger here, I guarantee that Lin Wen won't be able to leave. Right, I forgot. Lu Mang clapped his hands. He was so worried about his son that he forgot about this. Along, pass down my order. Elvision's eyes were filled with killing intent. Tell Fierce Tiger and Tiger Pow to kill Linwen if they see him. Alright, Lu Long replied. Reflection Tower, 7-star suite. I didn't expect that after going around in circles, we would actually come back. Pei Hong smiled bitterly. I thought I was dead for sure this time, Pei Qing said softly. Fortunately, we have Lin De Go. Little Jade smiled sweetly. Lin Feng sighed and shook his head. Actually, I've implicated everyone. If it weren't for me, you wouldn't have to suffer like this. The group of people from Rising Wind Valley and the mysterious force that Senior High mentioned were targeting him. Don't say that, Lin De Go. Yeah, Lin De Go, this has nothing to do with you. The girls said. No matter who implicated who, Lin Feng was willing to risk his life to save them. The significance of this in itself had surpassed everything else. It's a pity that the things have been snatched away. Pei Qing's eyes showed a hint of reluctance. Yeah, it's worth a total of 1,200 Douling coins. Pei Hong only felt heartache. She was still thinking about how to use this huge sum of money to revitalize Colored Jade Sect, but she didn't expect to die before she could succeed. Lin Feng smiled lightly, then took out 2 storage rings from his chest and threw them over. Here. Pei Hong reached out and caught them. She was surprised. This is, Lin Feng smiled and said, the things should be inside. Let's look for them. Everyone was overjoyed at the turn of events. Pei Honglian impatiently rummaged through the items and instantly took out a bright red long whip. It emitted a sparkling luster like a flood dragon and had a threatening spiritual aura. Got it, got it. Pei Hong was overjoyed. She was most concerned about this 3-star weapon. Now that she had regained it, she couldn't stop smiling. Pei Qing, Little Jade, and Lei Dao quickly found their respective treasures. In addition, everyone found more than 100 Douling coins. They couldn't believe it. Lin Feng, this. Pei Hong was shocked. It's ownerless. Take it. Lin Feng smiled. For him, these 100 Douling coins were insignificant. But to the girls, it was a considerable amount of wealth. Wow, that's great! Little Jade shouted. All the girls laughed happily, but it was actually a blessing in disguise. Although they were a little frightened and injured on this journey, they didn't lose any of their treasures. Instead, they gained a lot of unexpected wealth. Everyone was happy. Looking at everyone's happy appearance, Lin Feng smiled indifferently. However, there was a hint of worry in his smile. A light flashed in his eyes. Although the threat of Rising Wind Valley was gone, the mysterious force and the mastermind were still lurking in the dark, eyeing him covetously. I'm not afraid, but... Lin Feng frowned slightly. He was afraid that the people of Caifei sect would be hurt again. They could escape the first time, but what would happen the second time and the third time? The god of luck wouldn't be attached to him every time. If something happened to the girls, it would be too late to regret. Let's see if Pei Hong and the others are willing to stay here for a while. Otherwise, I can only give up the trip to Green Smoke Secret Land and send them back to Caifei sect safely. Lin Feng pondered. He had to prioritize. Perhaps giving up the trip to Green Smoke Secret Land would be a great loss for him, but as long as the people of Caifei sect could be safe, it would be worth it. Then, who is the mastermind? Lin Feng's eyes were deep. The group of men of sacrifice didn't leave any clues. But perhaps we can get some information from the manor in Hidden Silk Valley. Lin Feng nodded slightly. Suddenly, he thought of someone. Maybe she can give me some useful information. Lin Feng's eyes shone. Mr. Linwen, do you want to know the owner of the manor in Hidden Silk Valley? Aning asked with a smile. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. Yes. Do you know Chifen? How could a little girl like me possibly know such a secret? An Ying's voice drifted into his ears. Lin Feng was slightly disappointed. The only clue he could use was broken. The mastermind was hidden very deeply, and he couldn't find any weakness. However, An Ying's voice suddenly changed. An Ying smiled mysteriously. But there is one person who might be able to help Mr. Lin Wen. Oh! Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. We meet again, Lin Wen. Bright eyes, big eyes, and a pleasant smile. The mature and enchanting woman in front of him was enough to make any man's heart flutter. So the person Chiefin was talking about is you, Miss Fong and I. Lin Feng's eyes shone. They had already met once, so they weren't strangers. This time, he didn't see the arrogance in Fong Ni's eyes. Instead, she looked like an ordinary big sister next door. Lin Feng didn't know that this was because his position in Fong Ni's heart had risen. After the battle with Ji Xia, he had already become famous. Everyone in Green Smoke City knew him, and Fong Tianxing had an even higher opinion of Lin Feng. He couldn't wait to recruit him. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled as he went straight to the point. Miss Feng, can you tell me, who is the owner of the manor in Serene Silk Valley? Indeed, with the Fong family's status and power in Green Smoke City, she must know about it. The key was whether Fong and I was willing to help him. Of course, Fong and I said with a smile. I came to see you because of this. Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up, as if he had understood something. On the surface, the owner of the manor in Hidden Silk Valley belongs to Jia Gu, a wealthy merchant in the city, but… Fong and I paused for a moment, her eyes shining brightly. The real owner is Lu Ning, the patriarch of the Lu clan. And Serene Silk Valley is where the Wild Leopard Death-Worn Regiment, one of the 3 major death-worn regiments of the Lu family, is stationed. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he stared at Fong and I. I know what you're thinking. Fong and I smiled faintly, and then took out a scroll from her bosom. With a flick of her wrist, the scroll unfolded. Looking at the face on the scroll, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. That face was exactly the same as the rank 3-star C-state martial artist he had killed. Wild Leopard, the captain of the Wild Leopard Death-Worn Regiment. Fong Ni's eyes lit up. The 3 major death-worn regiments of the Lu family are very well hidden. We still don't know the identities of the captains of the Tyrannosaurus Death-Worn Regiment and the Fierce Tiger Death-Worn Regiment. Only the weakest Wild Leopard Death-Worn Regiment has information about them because they often carry out missions for the Lu family. Other than the Fong family, no one else in the entire Green Smoke City knows about this, Fong and I said. Looking at those exquisite eyes, Lin Feng nodded lightly. Fong Ni's expression wasn't unnatural at all. From her eyes there was no lie or deception. It's them. Lin Feng's eyes flashed with a sharp light. He didn't expect that a small conflict between him and Lu Bao would make them hate him so much that they wanted to kill him. Lin Feng looked at Fong and I and asked, "Why are you helping me?" Fong and I smiled sweetly. Isn't there a saying that, "The enemy of my enemy is my friend"? Although Lin Wen isn't willing to join the Fong family, we have a common enemy at this moment. At least we're on the same side. Lin Feng nodded softly. Although he still had reservations about Fong Ni's words, he believed her words with certainty. How could Fong and I not guess Lin Feng's thoughts? She smiled and said, "You'll know the truth when you enter the Green Smoke Secret Realm. The strongest of the Lu family's young generation, the captain of the Fierce Tiger Death-Worn Regiment, Fierce Tiger, will definitely enter the Green Smoke Secret Realm this time. If I'm not wrong, he will definitely kill you. You must be careful." Pausing, Fong Ni's eyes flashed. "Speaking of which, Lin Wen, you're really strong. That Wild Leopard Death-Worn Regiment has never failed. I'm very curious, how did you escape from their tight encirclement?" "It's very simple. I killed them all." Lin Feng raised his head, his eyes bright. "Thank you for your information, Miss Fong. If it's proven that the Lu family is behind this, I won't let this matter rest." After saying that, Lin Feng turned and left, leaving behind a dumbfounded Fong and I. Her red lips were slightly parted, and her eyes were filled with disbelief. The Wild Leopard Death-Worn Regiment, One of the 3 major death-worn regiments of the Lu family, were they all dead? To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 476. Fong Mansion. What? The wild leopard death-worn troop was annihilated? Fong Tianxing was shocked. Yes, that's what Lin Wen said. Fong Ni's beautiful eyes sparkled. She recalled Lin Feng's nonchalant expression when he talked about it, as if he had done something insignificant. He did it alone? Fong Tianxing frowned. He didn't say that. Fong and I nodded. I've already sent someone to verify this. If it's true, the Lu family will definitely suffer a great loss. Fong Tianxing smiled. That old man Lu Mang has no foresight. He only cares about the treasures on Lin Wen's body and forgot something important. Looking at the curious Fong and I, Fong Tianxing's eyes lit up. Lin Feng must have an extraordinary background to possess so many treasures. Father, what do you mean? Fong Ni's beautiful eyes lit up. Fong Tianxing smiled and shook his head. You don't have to do anything. Just sit and watch. When the time is right, help Lin Wen. Understood, Fong and I replied with a smile. Reflection Pavilion. Lin Feng sat alone. He had benefited a lot from meeting Fong and I. The Lu family. Is the mastermind really the Lu family? Lin Feng's eyes flickered as he recalled every encounter he had with the Lu family. The first time was when he had just entered the Douling world and met Lu Bao in the Chaotic Mountain. At that time, they had an argument over the mutated beast fire skirt deer. However, because Xian Er was there, they did not fight. The second time was in Green Smoke City, during the elite martial arts competition. Slowly exhaling, Lin Feng couldn't help but shake his head. Logically speaking, he did not have much enmity with Lu Bao. However, when he thought about it, the Lu family was indeed the most suspicious. After all, other than Fengyang Valley, he did not offend many people. Forget it. Let's put it aside for now. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. If what Fong and I said is true, then when I enter the Green Smoke Secret Realm, the strongest person in the Lu family's younger generation, Fierce Tiger, will attack me. At that time, the truth will be revealed. Intuition told Lin Feng that what Fong and I said was true. But this kind of thing couldn't be done carelessly. If he took revenge on the Lu family and started a war, it would be a small matter. If he was used as a tool, that would be a big matter. After all, his friendship with Fong and I was still shallow. Green Smoke Mystery Land. Let's decide whether to go or not. Lin Feng nodded and stood up. There were less than 2 hours left before noon. It was time to make a decision. If the people of the Tsayu sect insisted on returning to the Tsayu sect, he would give up on entering the Green Smoke Secret Realm. Although it was a pity to him, it was a kind of responsibility and obligation. He definitely could not let the people of the Tsai sect fall into a dangerous situation because of him. Right at this moment, knock, knock, knock. There was a rhythmic knocking on the door. Oh, Lin Feng said softly. His eyes immediately lit up and he smiled faintly. We agreed on 3 days. You're on time. When he opened the door, he saw that familiar face. He had 2 swords on his back and a pair of blue eyes. It was Ji Xia. Lin Feng snorted softly. Ji Xia wasn't the only one who came. Other than him, there was also a kind-looking old man and a charming young girl with short hair. Let me introduce you. My master, Sima Shi, and my junior sister, Qin Qianqian. Ji Xia pointed at the old man and the young girl and said slowly. Hello, senior, Lin Feng said respectfully. He looked at Qin Qianqian and nodded. Hello, Qin Qianqian. Sima Shi nodded with a smile, but Qin Qianqian snorted softly. Qianqian, why are you so rude? Sima Shi shouted unhappily. Qin Qianqian pouted and turned her face away. Sima Shi shook his head with a bitter smile. Don't mind her. I've spoiled this little girl. Let's go inside and talk, Linwen. It's okay. Lin Feng smiled. This way, Senior. What do you think, Linwen? Sima, she asked. This. Lin Feng hesitated slightly. If it was before, he would definitely reject. However, there were more variables now. He said softly, To be honest, Senior, I haven't thought about it. Humph. Qin Qianshan raised her nose. You're raising your status. Qianshan. Sima, she shouted coldly with slight anger. Qin Qianshan pursed her lips and felt wronged. She glared at Lin Feng fiercely. I'm sorry. My disciple doesn't know any better. Sima, she apologized. It's okay, Senior, Lin Feng said with a smile. Sima, she, whose strength was unfathomable, didn't put on airs at all. Sima, she smiled. Linwen, how much do you know about the Fierce Yen sect? Lin Feng's eyes flickered. He pondered and said, The second largest sect in the Yanling prefecture, second only to the Yanling myriad tribes. It rules 15 cities to the south of the Yanling prefecture. After saying that, Lin Feng chuckled. I've only heard about it. Is it true? Sima, she said indifferently, You're wrong about one thing. The Fierce Yen sect isn't any worse than the Yanling myriad tribes. Lin Feng said softly, Oh. His eyes lit up. Sima, she smiled. I'm not boasting. In terms of territory, the Yanling myriad tribes rules the 18 cities to the east of the Yanling prefecture. It's indeed better than the Fierce Yen sect. However, in terms of strength, the Fierce Yen sect isn't inferior to the Yanling myriad tribes, especially when it comes to the cultivation of the younger generation. Senior, please speak. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Seeing that Lin Feng was interested, Sima, she continued, The Yanling myriad tribes does have a deep foundation. To be honest, in terms of secret manuals and numinous treasures, the Fierce Yen sect is inferior. Lin Feng nodded. This Sima, she did have something to say. He didn't praise himself and trample on others. The Yanling prefecture was built by the Yanling myriad tribes. After all, the Yanling myriad tribes was a branch of the Yanling myriad tribes. Naturally, they had a deep foundation. However, the Yanling myriad tribes are xenophobic. Sima Shi's expression was serious. Martial artists who don't have the surname Wan are rarely useful in the Yanling myriad tribes. However, the Fierce Yen sect is different. Linwen, if you're willing to join, I can recommend you to become an inner sect disciple. In fact, if you're willing, you can be ranked below Qianshan and become my 10th inner sect disciple. The moment he said that, everyone was shocked. Qin Qianshan was shocked. He didn't expect his master to have such a high opinion of Lin Feng. Ji Xia smiled. Although he was shocked, he didn't care too much. In fact, if Linwen could join, he would welcome him with open arms. Linwen, this is a great opportunity. Ji Xia smiled and said, There are countless inner sect disciples in the Fierce Yen sect who want to be Master's disciple. However, they can't find a way. Master treats his disciples as if they were his own. He has a good reputation. Moreover, Master is not only a guardian, but also the chief weapon refiner of the Fierce Yen sect. If you join Master's sect, you will definitely have a bright future. Chief weapon refiner. Lin Feng's eyes lit up instantly. The ordinary-looking old man in front of him was indeed unfathomable. It was indeed a great opportunity. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't tempted. Lin Feng frowned slightly. There were thousands of thoughts in his mind. Ever since he slowly integrated into the Douling world, Lin Feng clearly understood how important it was to have a force and a backer here. Just like what Senior Hai said, the reason why the mastermind dared to attack him so recklessly was because he didn't have any backer behind him. But now it was an unexpected surprise. If he had Sima Shi and the Fierce Yen sect behind him, would the mastermind still dare to attack him? However, there were gains and losses. Joining a sect meant that he would lose his freedom. It was a difficult choice. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. However, I still have many things to do in the Green Smoke City. I can't give you an accurate answer for now. After pondering for a while, Lin Feng nodded and said, half a year. I will go to the Fierce Yen sect in half a year and give you an explanation. Sima Shi grinned. He could see that Lin Feng was moved. Lin Wen, you are going to the Green Smoke Secret Realm later, right? Sima Shi asked suddenly. Maybe. Lin Feng wasn't sure. Lin Wen, do you have other things to do? Ji Xia asked curiously. Lin Feng nodded and said, yes, the journey is dangerous. I want to send senior sister and the others back to the Colored Jade sect. Ji Xia nodded in understanding. He suddenly smiled and said, this is a small matter. Lin Wen, if you trust this Ji, leave this matter to me. Lin Feng was surprised. How can I? It's okay. Sima Shi smiled and said, Sierra and I planned to leave after seeing you today and train in the Yenling Mansion. Going to the Colored Jade sect is a small matter. After a slight pause, Sima Shi smiled and said, Lin Wen, if you feel sorry, you can enter the Green Smoke Secret Realm and take care of Qianshan for me. Lin Feng was startled. Qin Qianshan said unhappily, Master, Qianshan is not a child. She doesn't need anyone to take care of her. Also, Qin Qianshan glanced at Lin Feng and snorted. We don't know who will take care of who. Lin Feng smiled and didn't mind Qin Qianshan's tone. Then I will have to trouble Senior and Brother Ji. Indeed, Ji Xia's action solved his urgent problem. With Sima Shi and Ji Xia taking care of him, the people of the Colored Jade sect would be safe, and he could enter the Green Smoke Secret Realm with peace of mind. It was a win-win situation. As for taking care of Qin Qianshan, it was a piece of cake. Then it's settled. Sima Shi smiled and stood up. Sierra and I will go first and wait for you at the Fierce Yen sect. When the time comes, Qianshan will lead the way. Lin Wen, you won't be unable to find the way. We will meet again in half a year. Master, Qin Qianshan said anxiously. Lin Feng was also stunned. This Sima Shi's words seemed to did he just shove a big trouble into his hands? Qianshan, Ji Xia said seriously, you should learn to be independent. You can't always rely on your master. Then we will meet again in half a year, Lin Wen. Ji Xia's eyes suddenly brightened with a hint of blue light. I will cultivate well in this half a year and wait for you. The next time we meet, I will not lose to you. All right. Lin Feng nodded. Since what was done could not be undone, it would be too pretentious to refuse. He glanced at Qin Qianshan and happened to meet Qin Qianshan's eyes. Qin Qianshan was glaring at him. This half a year doesn't seem to be easy. Lin Feng felt helpless. My apologies. There is only one chapter today. Xiao Xiao has a bad cold and a bad headache. She is not in the right state at all. I have been coding this chapter since 2 in the afternoon. It took me a lot of effort to finish it. Xiao Xiao has taken her medicine and is preparing to sleep. She will wake up at 6 in the morning tomorrow to start coding. I hope I can make up for it. Again, I apologize to the readers who are waiting for me to update. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 477. Soon, Lin Feng bade farewell to the people from Caifei sect. With Sima Shi and Ji Xia accompanying him, Lin Feng had nothing to worry about. Not to mention the strength of the two, just the strong background behind them was enough to make people tremble. In the Yenling prefecture, who didn't know the name of the Fierce Yen sect? Qin Qianshan also reluctantly bid farewell to Sima Shi and Ji Xia. Before leaving, Sima Shi whispered something to her. Qin Qianshan pouted. Although she was unwilling, she still obeyed her master's words. In the big room, there were only 2 people left. The atmosphere couldn't help but be strange. Feeling Qin Qianshan's unfriendly gaze, Lin Feng suddenly felt a headache. He seemed to be in trouble for the next 6 months. Let me make it clear. I don't need you to take care of me. Qin Qianqian snorted. It's just that my master ordered me to, so, humph. I reluctantly accompanied you. Okay. Lin Feng smiled faintly and didn't mind. Seeing Lin Feng being so easygoing, Qin Qianqian's expression softened. Then let's go. There's still an hour before the Green Smoke Mystery Land opens. I heard from my master that the Green Smoke Mystery Land opens for less than half an hour each time. If we miss it, we'll have to wait for the next year. Lin Feng nodded. He had also heard about this. As a matter of fact, every city had its own unique characteristic. For example, the Silent Sky City, which was close to the Green Smoke City, had a huge glazed iron mine, which was an excellent material for forging weapons. Another example was the famous Lost City in the Yanling Prefecture. The entire city was like a maze with many spirit caves. Every city had its own unique characteristics. After all, the Yanling Prefecture was so big that the city occupied less than 1% of the area. Most of the cities were mountains, wilderness, and deserts. The appearance of the city must have been due to the distinctive characteristics of this area. That was why it was formed. The Green Smoke City was famous for the Green Smoke Mystery Land. Because of the Green Smoke Mystery Land, the Green Smoke City was flourishing. The Green Smoke Mystery Land was in the Green Smoke Martial City. If the Green Smoke Martial City was the core of the Green Smoke City, then the Green Smoke Mystery Land was the core of the Green Smoke Martial City. This is the Green Smoke Realm. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the area in front of him that was emitting a green mist. His eyes were filled with curiosity. The entire Green Smoke Realm took up half of the Green Smoke Martial City's area. Occasionally, many martial artists could be seen passing through the green mist and entering the city. Yes. Qin Qianqian's beautiful eyes sparkled. It was also her first time here. Lin Feng had heard a little about this Green Smoke Realm. Compared to the Green Smoke Mystery Realm, any martial artist could enter the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. The Green Smoke Mystery Realm was shrouded in green smoke all year round, making it difficult for people to see the direction clearly. In the deepest part of the Green Smoke territory, there was the Green Smoke Secret Realm. From time to time, many green smoke stones or treasures would appear. A fist-sized green smoke stone was worth about 1 soul coin. As for treasures, there were more and more. Some martial artists had obtained spirit treasures, while others had obtained soul artifacts. There were all kinds of different theories, but we don't know if the rumor is true. The only thing he was sure of was that the green smoke stone really existed. This also caused many martial artists to enter the Green Smoke Mystery Realm to try their luck. Even if they obtained a green smoke stone the size of a grain of sand, it was still worth 1 soul coin. In this place, countless martial artists became rich overnight. Especially those martial artists who desired to break through the peak of the galaxy level, they had a great need for money. Most importantly, there was no danger in the Green Smoke Realm. If there was any danger, it would be the internal strife between martial artists. But it rarely happened. After all, the martial artists who went to the Green Smoke Realm were not fools. They brought too many valuable items with them. Let's part here. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Entering the Green Smoke Mystery Realm was opened by the key in one's hand. Every martial artist who entered had a different position. Even if 2 people entered together, they would be teleported to different positions in the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. Humph, who wants to be with you? Qin Qianqian snorted. As if she sensed the ambiguity in her words, Qin Qianqian's beautiful face instantly turned red. Lin Feng smiled faintly and did not mind. It was too eye-catching for him to be with Qin Qianqian. Many martial artists were walking in and out, whispering to each other about the fact that they were together with Qin Qianqian. Look, isn't that Lin Wen from the Colored Jade sect? Yeah, why is he with my goddess Qin Qianqian? Look at the 2 of them. They are chatting so enthusiastically. What's their relationship? Idiot, they are a perfect match. Is there a need to talk about it? Look at how compatible they are. The chatter came one after another. Lin Feng smiled faintly, but Qin Qianqian blushed. She snorted and said, I'm leaving first. After taking a small step, Qin Qianqian seemed to have thought of something. She turned around and bit her lip. If we are lucky, we will meet in the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. Even if Qin Qianqian did not say it, he would go and find her. After all, he had promised Ji Xia and Senior Sima that he would take good care of Qin Qianqian. Whether she was willing or not, he had this responsibility. Qin Qianqian disappeared instantly. Lin Feng stepped into the area that was filled with a strange energy aura when he sensed the fog that had suddenly appeared in front of him. At this moment, there was less than 5 minutes before the opening of the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. Whoosh! It was as if he had entered a maze. Lin Feng felt that he was surrounded by greenery. He could not see his fingers even if he stretched out his hand. The strange energy gave him a familiar feeling, but he could not put his finger on it. Taking light steps, he walked through the green mist. Lin Feng's life spirit spread out, paying attention to his surroundings. Although the energy of the human soul had surpassed that of the life spirit, the two souls each had their own responsibilities and had different characteristics. In terms of perception and attack power, the human soul was no match for the life spirit. Lin Feng was very cautious. I wonder what secrets there are in the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. Also, I have to be careful. If what Feng and I said is true, the Lu family's fierce tiger might be harmful to me. Lin Feng's eyes were shining. He was very careful. According to Feng and I, the Lu family's fierce tiger was not only strong, but his whereabouts were also mysterious. His identity was a mystery. He was the strongest among the younger generation of the Lu family. He was the captain of the Fierce Tiger Death Squad before he reached 30. The enemy is in the dark, while I am in the light. Fortunately, there are only 10 people who entered the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. Excluding myself and Qianqian, there are only 8 people who are suspicious. No matter what, I just have to be cautious of these 8 people. Lin Feng said in his heart, thinking carefully. Although the Green Smoke Mystery Realm was magical and seemed to have treasures everywhere, it was still far from the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. However, it was undoubtedly far inferior to the Green Smoke Secret Dimension. So, instead of wasting time here, it was better to calm down and think about what to do next. Lu Mansion. Patriarch Lin Wen really entered the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. The one-eyed man, Lu Long, said proudly. This further proved that his speculation was not wrong. Lin Wen was indeed an assassin trained by the Feng family. Humph, there is a path to heaven, but he doesn't want to take it. There is no door to hell, but he wants to barge in. Lu Ning's eyes were full of murderous intent as he said coldly. The top 10 contestants were given 10 keys to enter the Green Smoke Mystery Realm every year. These keys could be bought. For example, the Lu family bought one of the keys this time. The wealthy Feng family naturally would not fall behind the Lu family. In fact, only 3 or 4 of the top 10 warriors who obtained the keys actually entered the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. For example, Lu Bao was eliminated by Lin Feng early on and did not qualify to enter. But the Lu family was rich. Brother Fierce Tiger has already entered the Green Smoke Mystery Realm. This time, he will definitely return victorious. Lu Long smiled confidently. Don't worry, Patriarch. With his strength, he will have no problem dealing with Lin Feng. Lu Ning nodded and was about to say something. Suddenly, a hurried sound came from outside the door. Lu Ning and Lu Long immediately looked over. Hua! A black shadow appeared. Just by looking at this strange body movement, they knew that the person's strength was above the star sea level. Patriarch, the people of the Colored Jade sect have already left the Green Smoke City. The black shadow cupped his hands. Good. This time we will not fail. Lu Ning's eyes were very deep. Since he had already started, he would finish it. He would not give up halfway. This. The black shadow seemed to hesitate. Lu Long immediately shouted coldly, "If you have something to say, say it. Stop hemming and hawing." "Captain, I dare not do it." The black shadow gritted his teeth. "Why?" Lu Long frowned. "Because Ji Xia and Sima Shi are accompanying them." The black shadow's face was slightly pale. "What?" Lu Ning's eyes widened in shock. Oh, Lu Long suddenly realized and clapped his hands. In other words, someone saw Lin Wen and Qin Qianqian walking together. Is it true? No way? Lu Ning's face suddenly became very ugly. He said angrily, "Then why didn't you say it just now?" "Wait." Lu Ning's hands and feet trembled. Lin Feng and Fierce Yen School, could there be some relationship? Lu Long! Lu Ning shouted hysterically. Lu Long was stunned. "Quick, go and stop Fierce Tiger. Stop the plan to kill Lin Feng immediately!" Lu Ning almost roared. "This." Lu Long's face changed continuously. After a while, he said blankly, "It's too late, Patriarch. It's already past noon." "No, it can't be." Lu Ning's face was full of shock. He felt weak all over, as if he had aged countless years in an instant. His hands and feet trembling slightly, Lu Ning showed a frightened and disbelieving face. He collapsed on the golden chair, his lips extremely dry. He was in trouble. In the green smoke secret realm. "It's starting." Lin Feng's eyes were bright. The green stone in his hand, which was the size of a copper coin, was shining, bringing a strange and powerful force. Suddenly, swoosh! The color of the stone suddenly bloomed. Green and cyan intertwined, creating a beautiful color. Lin Feng was a little surprised. The mist in front of him scattered. As the green light glowed, a space crack appeared, bringing with it the energy of heaven and earth. It opened like an eye, appearing in front of him in an instant. The entrance of the green smoke secret realm. "I'm coming." Lin Feng smiled slightly. Without the slightest hesitation, he stepped into the green crack. Swoosh! The space crack instantly disappeared and closed. "I still had a headache in the morning. I didn't get up. After taking medicine twice and sleeping for 12 hours, I feel much better. Today, I'll start at 3 p.m. as usual. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 478. A green mist shrouded the entire area. What a dense mist! Lin Feng frowned slightly. Compared to the green smoke secret realm, the mist here was 10 times denser. Looking around, he couldn't see anything at all. There was only lush greenery. It was as if he had lost his sight here. This should be the first secret realm of the green smoke secret realm, green smoke forest. Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly as he spread out the power of his life spirit. However, with the interference of the dense green mist, the range and ability to sense were greatly reduced. Lin Feng nodded slightly and proceeded forward. If I want to enter the second secret realm, I have to find the exit within 10 days, Lin Feng thought to himself. Every year, 10 people were allowed to enter the green smoke secret realm. Therefore, the general information about the green smoke secret realm was no longer a secret. As long as my luck isn't too bad, 10 days should be enough, Lin Feng smiled faintly. Every year, about 80% of the warriors who entered the green smoke secret realm passed the first secret realm. With his strength, it shouldn't be too difficult. The only ones I have to be careful of are the green giant and the smoke charm. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. He had heard all this from the people of the colored jade sect. As for what the green giant and the smoke charm looked like and what they were good at, he didn't know. After all, compared to the Fong family or the Lu family, who had a deep foundation, what the people of the colored jade sect knew was mostly rumors and rumors. However, Lin Feng didn't care too much. Every year 80% of the warriors can pass through safely. Come to think of it, the green giant and the smoke charm shouldn't be that strong. Lin Feng smiled faintly and was extremely confident. Although the green smoke forest that every martial artist entered was different, the exit location was very different and the difficulty was different. However, if the other warriors could pass through the first secret realm safely, he naturally wouldn't have a problem. In another green smoke forest, a burly red-haired man picked up a dark green jade stone with his right hand and placed it in his mouth, chewing noisily. The red-haired man swallowed it with a gulp, and a bright light flashed in his eyes. His originally burly body made a thumping sound, and his muscles seemed to be trembling slightly. A green brilliance appeared outside his body, and soon, the red-haired man exhaled deeply. Awesome! The red-haired man laughed heartily, but he sighed softly. Unfortunately, I won't be able to enjoy too much of this delicacy for the time being. The red-haired man's eyes instantly lit up and he straightened up. Since the patriarch has given the order, it's more important to complete the mission first. A faint battle intent boiled around the red-haired man's body, forming a resolute force. The red-haired man's mouth curved up coldly. Lin Wen, I want to see how powerful you are. If the battle where you defeated Ji Xia was your full strength then, just wait for your death. A heavy murderous aura spread out. The red-haired man was like an arrow that pierced through the air. In an instant, he rushed out. I have to find the exit as soon as possible and stop that kid before entering the second secret realm. The red-haired man's eyes were bright and cold. Otherwise, I will only have a chance to kill that kid in the third secret realm, which will waste too much of my cultivation time. The rushing figure accelerated to a speed that was far faster than the battle between Lin Feng and Ji Xia. This red-haired man's strength was terrifying. The strongest among the young generation of the Liu family, fierce tiger. No wonder Pei Hong warned me to be careful not to get lost in the forest of green smoke. This place is connected in all directions, just like an endless grassland. But it's troublesome that I can't see anything. Lin Feng thought for a while and rushed in this place filled with green smoke at 50% of his speed. The aura of the life spirit spread out, and the detection range was less than 1/3 of before. The thick green smoke covered every danger in this place. It was approaching Lin Feng step by step. Suddenly, thump! His mind shook violently. Lin Feng's ears perked up and his eyes lit up. Although he couldn't sense the aura of the life spirit, he could hear the sound of footsteps. The sound kept ringing, getting clearer and heavier. It was like a mountain pressing down on his heart, making it hard to breathe. In an instant, Lin Feng's expression turned serious. His eyes shone with a sharp light, and the nightmare demon spear appeared in his hand. His life spirit finally reacted. What a terrifying weight! Lin Feng thought to himself. To be able to hear the footsteps from such a distance, one could imagine how ridiculous the weight of the person was. The heavy breathing brought with it a suffocating pressure. Although he couldn't see, Lin Feng could feel it with his heart. It's coming! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Emperor Shun's Gang Qi. The strong qi of heaven and earth gathered around his body, bringing with it a black smoke. Although the green smoke was everywhere, the black smoke was not affected at all. Lin Feng's speed instantly increased, and the monster that entered the black smoke finally saw. This should be the green giant. Lin Feng was shocked. It was 15 meters tall, far taller than the wizard race, and its green muscles were bulging and strong. His terrifying weight made it obvious that he was an expert in strength attack. Just his thick arms alone were several times wider than his entire body. But whoosh! Lin Feng's figure instantly became ghostly. His speed, which he was extremely good at, was even more powerful in the black smoke. However, the Hulk had once again magnified his greatest disadvantage. Its heavy body didn't bring it any benefit. On the contrary, it completely exposed its flaws. Whoosh, whoosh. Lin Feng circled around the heavy Hulk, trying to see its reaction. Boom, boom. The green giant waved its thick arms crazily. It was extremely furious. However, every strike it made landed in the air. It was unable to pose any threat to Lin Feng. Very strong. It's comparable to Jixia after the astral power eruption, but it's too slow. Lin Feng was shocked. Although its speed was reduced by half, the green giant's fists were still extremely powerful. If an ordinary warrior collided with it head-on, he definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. It's not difficult to kill it. But this green giant is so powerful. How can the other warriors kill it? Lin Feng couldn't help but feel curious. He knew the strength of the top 10 warriors. It wouldn't be easy to kill the green giant. Although he was puzzled, Lin Feng didn't waste any time. The green giant, who was fighting, suddenly sank a little. Its weakness was exposed. Roar. The green giant's eyes lit up. Its fists, which were like iron hammers, fell like meteorites. A terrifying wind blew, pushing away the surrounding air pressure. At this moment, the green giant's strength was completely unleashed. However, wind vortex. Lin Feng's expression was extremely calm. He tilted his body slightly, and the nightmare demon's spear in his hand clanged. At this time, the purple-black light of the wind vortex at his right foot suddenly bloomed. The extremely fierce chi of heaven and earth circulated, bringing a powerful airflow and strangely changing the direction of his body. In an instant, whoosh! Lin Feng's body inexplicably moved to the right. The moment the green giant's hammer-like fists fell. The timing was just right. Sun Dragon Spear Art. Lin Feng's eyes blazed. The fiery red body of the nightmare demon's spear streaked across the sky. Lin Feng seemed to have turned into a dragon, and the sharp spear intent was fully revealed. As the green giant's iron fists fell on the ground, causing a shocking explosion, Lin Feng's spear also arrived. Like a bright meteor, it was as strong as the sun. Rip! The astonishing spear pierced the green giant's heart. Die! Lin Feng shouted. In an instant, Emperor Shun's energy completely exploded. His chi force exploded forth like a cloud of smoke. A mournful howl rang out from the green giant. In an instant, he died without a burial place. Boom! Lin Feng floated in the air, his eyes shining. The shocking explosion dispersed the surrounding green mist. The green giant had completely disappeared. There was not a trace of blood on his body, nor was there any flesh or bones left. He was purely a crystallization of energy. After his death, only a dark green jade was left floating in the air. It had a crystal-like luster. Oh! Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. His body moved slightly, and his right hand grabbed the dark green jade. It was warm in his hand, and a powerful energy passed through the jade to his heart. Lin Feng closed his eyes and felt the energy. His heart was inexplicably moved. This moment was too familiar. It's very similar to the dense fog beast in the heavenly treasure world. Lin Feng's lips curved. It felt as if he had returned to the past. Familiar memories appeared in his mind, and he felt as if he was reminded of the past. After the dense fog beast died, it left behind a heavenly treasure crystal, and after the green giant died, it left behind a dark green jade. Although he did not know its name, it was obviously similar to the heavenly treasure crystal. However, its energy was much stronger than the heavenly treasure crystal. If I'm not wrong, this should be a grade 1 crystal, green condensing stone. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. After reading the Ore Illustrated Handbook, Lin Feng's knowledge of ores was quite high. After careful observation, he quickly found clues of its characteristics and knew its identity. It's a refining material used to temper weapons. Lin Feng recalled the description in the Ore Illustrated Handbook and smiled. but more often it's used to strengthen a star sea-level warrior's body. His gaze fell on the small green condensing stone. Lin Feng did not hesitate to put it into his mouth. He had just entered the star sea level, and what he needed was a treasure that could immediately strengthen his battle strength. After swallowing it, Lin Feng instantly felt a powerful energy flow. There was a burst of energy in his body. It was very powerful, but it was very gentle and did not harm his body. It spread to his limbs, meridians, and every inch of his skin, strengthening his cells and toughening his bones. The first time he absorbed the green condensing stone, the benefits were naturally the best. The unique energy warmed his body, smoothing out his meridians and skin. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. He felt the rapid increase in his body's strength and smiled. His trip this time was really worth it. There's still one more chapter to be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 479. Half an incense stick of time passed. Lin Feng stabbed out with the nightmare spear, and his eyes lit up. My body strength has increased by 10%. Lin Feng's lips curled up. He was in a good mood. If he were to cultivate normally, it would be extremely difficult for his body to grow by 10% without being able to comprehend the astral force. But now it only took him half an hour. Continue. Lin Feng's right hand that was holding the nightmare spear tightened. Right now, it was no longer important to think about how the other warriors would defeat this monster. What was important was how much benefit he would gain from killing it. Whoosh! Lin Feng dashed out like a gust of wind. Soon, Lin Feng found the second green giant. It was a simple and clean kill. Although this green giant was not weak in terms of strength, especially its shocking strength. If one was hit by its meteorite-like fist, even if one didn't die, one would lose a layer of skin. But to him, his talent, the black mist, completely countered the green giant. The energy of this green condensing stone is a bit lacking, Lin Feng thought. The green condensing stone that he ate was a level lower than the first one, regardless of size or energy. Moreover, the second time he ate it, the effect would be inferior to the first. It should be judged by the height of the green giant, Lin Feng said softly. The first green giant he encountered was 15 meters tall, and this one was only 11 meters tall. The more energy the green condensing stone contained, the bigger and stronger the green giant that was born. It was a direct correlation. This green giant's speed is probably not even comparable to a rank 1-star sea-state warrior. Lin Feng smiled. Actually, it's not hard to avoid it. As long as you hear the footsteps, you can run far away. I don't think the green giant will be able to catch up. The doubts in Lin Feng's heart were instantly solved. He smiled indifferently. After all, this first secret realm didn't require him to kill the green giant. It was just finding the exit. In fact, the vast majority of cultivators would avoid the Hulk. Only a select few who were extremely confident in their own strength would choose to fight him. But unlike Lin Feng, he didn't go looking for the Hulk everywhere. After all, those who could kill the Hulk had basically already comprehended astral power. The first time he consumed the green condensed stone, the effect would be great, but the effect would decrease with each consumption. In the end, the effect would become rather weak. Step by step. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was not in a hurry to find the exit. In contrast, Lin Feng wished that there were more Hulks that other martial artists flocked to. Absorbing the green condensing stone before I can comprehend the star energy is definitely one of the fastest ways for me to improve my strength. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The first time he absorbed the green congealed stone, his body's strength increased by 10%. The second time the effect decreased, but it still increased by 6%. At this rate, in a short period of time, It was enough to reach level 2 cosmic sea state. I wonder how many hulks there are here, Lin Feng mused. As he sped forward, the thick green mist in front of him became thicker and thicker. Lin Feng snorted softly. Suddenly, he heard a sound that sounded like a baby's cry. This is... Lin Feng's eyes widened. He stopped and looked in the direction of the sound. Lin Feng gently held the nightmare demon spear's handle with his right hand. The senses of the life spirit were quite sharp. The cry was faintly discernible, sometimes close and sometimes far. In an instant, Lin Feng's expression changed, and he retreated. A rather powerful life spirit power. Smoke charm. Lin Feng's expression turned serious. Bang! He pulled out the nightmare demon spear, bringing out a clanging sound. His battle intent was boiling. Screech! A sharp sound pierced his eardrums, causing him to see a blurry image before his eyes. The thick green mist seemed to have turned into a ghost. Scenes after scenes, pieces after pieces, seemed to be hiding something, but he couldn't see it. It was extremely eerie. Emperor Shun's Qi shield. Lin Feng shouted fiercely. The black mist instantly condensed. Lin Feng's eyes shone slightly. In the black mist, it was like a sharp fox-like face. It blended into the mist and mixed with the green mist. It was like blood in water, indistinguishable. Longyang's spear art. Lin Feng's right foot stepped on the ground, and the nightmare demon's spear shot out like a meteor. The power of the spear shot out in all directions. However, bang! That sharp sound rang in his ears again. Lin Feng shook violently. At such a close distance, the shocking scream made his eardrums burst. At this moment, the smoke charm moved. That disgusting and horrifying face seemed to be waiting for him with its mouth wide open. The demonic eyes shone brightly. Although the movement was subtle, it caused Lin Feng's eyes to rapidly change. Oh no! It's not affected by the black mist. Lin Feng's expression changed. At this moment, the nightmare demon's spear had already pierced through the smoke charm, as if it had pierced through the mist. It couldn't cause any damage to it. However, the smoke charm's counterattack came one after another. Bang! It was as if the soul was trembling. The smoke charm opened its mouth wide, as if it wanted to swallow Lin Feng whole. The intense soul undulation was close at hand. The smoke charm's counterattack was as fast as lightning. The instant Lin Feng's nightmare demon spear pierced through its body, it moved. The timing was perfect. If it was a normal war god, they would have already taken half a step into the Yellow Springs. However, Lin Feng, the instant the black mist changed, he had already reacted. You want to win like this? You're thinking too simply. Lin Feng's lips curled up slightly. Although the smoke charm's strength was beyond his expectations, how could this kind of life form without intelligence compare to a human? Bang! The rebirth flame instantly exploded. The nightmare demon spear's fiery red body seemed to be burning. In that instant, the tip of the spear burned intensely, as if the stars in the sky were shining. The soul's trembling instantly stopped. The screams in his ears became even more mournful. However, the mournful screams no longer had the rhythm of an attack. Boom! The rebirth flame burned wildly. It devoured the fog and the horrifying and disgusting face. Everything, including the thick green fog, turned into nothingness under the attack of the rebirth flame. Bang! The air exploded. A green light flashed, bringing with it a clear luster. Lin Feng reached out his hand and grabbed it. It was a piece of emerald green jade that emitted a faint yet bright luster. Compared to the green condensed stone, it was more transparent and more beautiful. It was like a gentle and beautiful woman. This should be the emerald red stone. Lin Feng's eyes flickered slightly. He gently stroked the surface of the jade. It was like the smooth skin of a young girl. This was the biggest characteristic of the emerald red stone. It came from the same vein as the green condensed stone. According to the Illustrated Guide to Ores, the mother of the two was an associated ore. It was like a conjoined infant. It was also a grade 1 crystal. Soon, Lin Feng swallowed it into his stomach. It had the same effect as the green condensed stone. The emerald red stone's effect was more in eating. Absorbing and refining the emerald red stone could increase the power of the soul. Hua! Lin Feng's eyes focused slightly. A cool aura fell into his stomach and instantly split into two. One went towards the human soul and entered the soul sea. In an instant, it came into contact with the boundless soul sea, expanding the range of the chi of heaven and earth, increasing the density of the chi of heaven and earth, causing the soul sea to become more powerful. The other went towards the life soul and entered the yang fate astrolabe. However, there was no ripple at all. It was like an elephant swallowing an ant. There was no feeling at all. What a powerful smoke charm! Lin Feng thought to himself. It could completely blend into the environment and seemed to be immune to the war god's attack. Especially the last close-range attack. It directly attacked where the soul was. Such an attack pattern, it was exactly the same as a heavenly soul master. Unfortunately, although it is immune to physical attacks, the origin energy can completely suppress it. Lin Feng smiled calmly. The first time he fought with the smoke charm, it gave it an opportunity. Next time, he would directly use a fireball to kill it. There was no need for any complicated step. Like the green giant, the smoke charm had a relatively strong ability. However, similarly, it had a fatal weakness. The emerald red stone is not of much help to me. Lin Feng nodded lightly. Right now, only the war god's strength had reached the star sea level. The emerald red stone was more beneficial to heavenly soul masters and heavenly soul masters. Both of them increased their strength by cultivating the life soul. The emerald red stone was extremely useful. What he needed was the green condensed stone. It's better than nothing. Lin Feng smiled calmly. Anyway, he would definitely encounter the smoke charm in the process of searching for the green giant. Instead of wasting his energy to escape, he might as well kill it. Perhaps the smoke charm was a monster that was difficult to defeat for the war god. However, to him, it could not withstand a single blow. Green giant, smoke charm. Lin Feng smiled calmly. An interesting place. Let's start hunting. Now that he had made up his mind, Lin Feng smiled. He did not know about the other secret realms. However, this first secret realm, to him, it was already very precious. One day later, a bright light shone. A red-haired, muscular man slowly walked out of a circle of light. With a halberd on his back and a sharp light in his eyes, the red-haired man was filled with a strong desire to fight. Lu family Lai Hu. I did not expect to be delayed by a day. Lai Hu's eyes were bright as he glanced around. Other than the circle of light he walked out of, there were a total of 99 circles of light. Including his, there were a total of 100 circles of light, forming a huge circular outline. However, I don't think that Lin Wen will come out so soon. Lai Hu smiled calmly. Go inside and wait for him. I don't know how much time I have to waste. Tsk. Lai Hu shook his head regretfully. Although it was a pity, he could not disobey the patriarch's orders. Fierce Tiger could still tell which was more important. There are still 9 days left. Lai Hu's eyes were bright as he smiled coldly. Lin Wen, you better pray that you can't find the exit. Lai Hu opened his right hand and moved his fingers. Soon after, he clenched them again, his eyes sparkling with murderous intent. Otherwise, if you fall into my hands this time, you won't have any chance of survival. Just wait for your death. Although it was a bit late, it was finally done. Xiao Xiao endured her tiredness and completed her promise. I'm going to sleep. My head hurts again. How depressing. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidien.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 480. The first secret realm, the Forest of Green Smoke. In terms of size, none of the Forest of Green Smoke was too big. It wasn't difficult for any Star Sea-level warrior to explore the entire Forest of Green Smoke. However, the existence of the thick fog and the strength of the Green Giant and the Smoke Charm were the biggest obstacles. The Green Giant had thick skin and a strong body. Not only did it have an extremely strong defense, but it also had an extremely strong resistance or even immunity to origin energy. As for the Smoke Charm, its strange characteristics were needless to say. It was immune to physical attacks and was almost every war god's nightmare. War gods, martial gods, heavenly spirit masters, heavenly soul masters, no matter what kind of warrior they would always be limited by either the Green Giant or the Smoke Charm. After all, the characteristics of the two were too obvious, and their unique powers complemented each other perfectly. Even the strong fierce tiger could only kill the Green Giant and avoid the Smoke Charm. In fact, over the years, most warriors who entered the Forest of Green Smoke avoided it. Whether it was the Green Giant or the Smoke Charm, they all had a fatal weakness: they were too slow. The Green Giant's cumbersome body and the Smoke Charm's baby-like cries were simply natural alarms. As long as one wanted to dodge, they would definitely be able to avoid it. And this was also the reason why warriors who passed the first secret realm over the years had an 80% success rate. The time saved in the first secret realm could be used in the second and third secret realms. Therefore, those experienced factions wouldn't let warriors waste too much time in the first secret realm. After all, compared to the first secret realm, what they obtained in the second and third secret realms was far better. But right now there was an anomaly. Lin Feng. Qi. A lightning-like spear. It pierced through the Green Giant's thick skin, and Emperor Shun's aura erupted fiercely. Lin Feng's eyes were like lightning, carrying a faint battle intent. As the Green Giant's body exploded, a bright green condensed stone immediately fell into his hand. Crunch. Lin Feng swallowed it. Ta. After landing on the ground, Lin Feng closed his eyes. He felt the pure energy of the green condensed stone spread out in his body, strengthening his physique. Every inch of his skin and bones had become stronger. Compared to when he had just entered the Forest of Green Smoke, he was completely different. His strength was growing at an extremely fast rate. 80%. Lin Feng slowly opened his eyes with satisfaction. His body's strength increased by 80%, which meant that he was within reach of level 2 Cosmic Sea State. However, the effect of the green condensing stone is getting weaker and weaker, Lin Feng said softly. In the beginning, the first pill provided a 10% increase, but now, on the 5th day, the effect had dropped to 1%. We have to kill at least 20 more Hulks. There's more than enough time. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. Hunting was not troublesome. The troublesome part was searching in this thick fog. In the beginning, it was simple. They could find prey by running around randomly. However, as time passed, their efficiency decreased greatly. However, it won't be difficult to kill another 20 to 30 Hulks. Lin Feng smiled confidently. As his body completely absorbed the energy of the green coagulation stone, he sped forward and disappeared into the thick fog. An hour later, Lin Feng was stunned. The thick fog in front of him gradually dissipated. It was actually thinning out slowly. Lin Feng felt a chill in his heart. He vaguely understood something and came to a realization. I see. Lin Feng nodded lightly. His eyes flashed as he sped up. As the thick fog gradually dissipated, Lin Feng's life spirit's range of vision increased. Everything in front of him was bright. Lin Feng stopped and stood still. So, this is the exit. Looking at the circle of light in front of him, Lin Feng smiled faintly. There was no fog around this circle of light. The powerful heaven and earth energy had created an independent domain. It was similar to a spatial portal. If I leave here, I should be able to enter the second secret realm, Lin Feng thought. On the other hand, he had been searching high and low for the green condensed stone, but to no avail. He had been searching for the green giant all along. However, he didn't expect that he would find the exit so easily by accident. However, it's still early. Lin Feng nodded. To him, it was not time to leave yet. Bang! A bright flame appeared on his right hand, burning faintly. Let's make a mark. It will be easier to find later. Lin Feng looked at the exit of the circle of light. However, he went in the opposite direction and entered the thick green fog again. Only a flame of rebirth was left. It was like a flame in the void, floating quietly. Outside the second secret realm. So slow. Lai Tiger was half lying outside a huge palace. He was bored to death. The second secret realm was so close, but he could not enter. This made Lai Tiger anxious. He had waited for 4 days and saw 3 warriors come out of the first secret realm safely. However, he did not see any trace of Lin Feng. Damn it! The green smoke mystery dimension can only be entered once a year. That brat wasted 4 days just like that. Lai Hu's eyes were slightly red, revealing a hint of anger. Every minute and second in the green smoke secret area was extremely precious. Lai Hu, who had been here a few times already, was very clear about this point. However, he had to obey the clan leader's order. Lin Wen must be killed. There are 5 more days. Stay there if you can. Lai Tiger snorted. Lai Tiger was impatient. He was emitting a faint, murderous aura. However, what else could he do? Day after day passed. 10 days was a long time for many warriors. However, for Lin Feng it passed too quickly. It was as if it had passed in the blink of an eye. Dong! Dong! The heavy footsteps were like an earthquake. It was clearer and more obvious than any other time. Obviously, this green giant's strength was extraordinary. To other cultivators, they would have been so frightened that they would have turned pale and fled. However, to Lin Feng, this was the happiest moment. Finally found it. It took me 4 hours. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Before this, he had not seen any green giant or smoke charm for 4 hours. With his speed, this was already a large exploration area. Almost, he was ready to give up. My luck is not bad. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. Emperor Shun's aura appeared, and the black mist talent was displayed. Bang! The nightmare demon's spear vibrated, and the fiery red spear stood upright. Lin Feng's eyes were like stars. He had waited for this moment for 10 days. Storm spear art. Rumble! The 20-meter-tall giant body was completely destroyed. No matter how strong it was, no matter how terrifying the attack was, the limitation of speed and the lack of intelligence made the green giant like a puppet in front of Lin Feng, unable to resist at all. Bang! There was an explosion. A bright green stone appeared in an instant. Swoosh! Lin Feng grabbed it with his right hand, and a satisfied smile appeared on his face. After 10 days of hard work, all he lacked was this last piece of the puzzle. He swallowed it directly, and a cool feeling spread throughout his body. The powerful energy spread to his limbs and meridians. Lin Feng's eyes instantly lit up. As if reaching the limit, his body suddenly changed. His bones were vibrating, his muscles were condensing, and his cells were dividing and strengthening. It's here. Lin Feng was overjoyed. The transformation from Cosmic Sea State 1 to Cosmic Sea State 2. In his human soul, the faint flickering light of the star power condensed and shone brightly. The red starlight penetrated his human soul and spread along his meridians. At this moment, an inexplicable energy surrounded him. In the distant sky, something seemed to be calling him. It was similar, as if there was a string connecting and connecting. Is this the power of the stars? Lin Feng murmured. The feeling was very vague and hazy. He seemed to be able to comprehend something, but it was useless now. To comprehend star power, one had to take the initiative to comprehend it. It was not like now, where the star power was given by the body. According to the common saying of the Doling world, this was called bestowment. It was not the same as comprehension. His body was strengthened, and the contained energy changed with the nourishment of the star power, causing his body to transform and evolve. Feeling the new body, Lin Feng revealed a faint smile. No matter what, the growth of his strength was real. As the star power and the energy of heaven and earth poured into his body and into his human soul, the red star power gathered in his human soul again. The energy intensity also doubled. The transformation was complete. I didn't expect to be able to advance so quickly. Lin Feng nodded. Although he had not comprehended star power, he was already very satisfied to reach level 2 in 10 days. If he fought Ji Xia with his current strength, he wouldn't have been in such a sorry state. Phew! Lin Feng exhaled and opened his eyes. His eyes lit up, and his body seemed to have become lighter. This world has a suppression and restriction on me. As my strength increases, the closer I am to the power of this world, the smaller the suppression and restriction. Lin Feng said softly and looked around. When he saw that everything was clear in front of him and he could see everything clearly, he was surprised. There seemed to be something different, but he couldn't put his finger on it. In an instant, Lin Feng opened his eyes wide and said in a daze, "Where did the fog go?" Just as he was in a daze, Lin Feng's head suddenly shook. In his senses, a powerful energy seemed to be rapidly converging not far away. Lin Feng's life spirit immediately spread out, and his eyes lit up. "It's there!" In an instant, like a sharp arrow shooting out, Lin Feng suddenly sped up. There was an inexplicable excitement in his heart. At this moment, there was no fog around, and his eyes suddenly opened up. It was as if the mysterious veil of this forest of green smoke had been lifted, and he could see the true face of Mount Lu. Accidentally, he seemed to have discovered some secret. That is... While speeding, Lin Feng saw a shining spot from afar. Slowing down, Lin Feng's heart beat extremely fast. That object was in his eyes. First update: Xiao Xiao went out to eat. Second update is around 0:00. If there are no accidents, the third update will continue today. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 481. It was a piece of green striped stone. It was oval in shape and the size of a pebble. The fine and translucent markings were like imprints, but they also resembled turtle scales. It was very strange. Lin Feng stood there calmly. His eyes flashed with passion. He pursed his lips and his heart beat rapidly. What a strange energy! Lin Feng stared at it and exclaimed. This green-colored striped stone gave him a rather tempting feeling. It was as if there was a kind of natural tacit understanding between them. At this moment, clang! A clear sound seemed to ring in his mind. Lin Feng's eyes widened. It was like a Sanskrit sound that cleared his mind. Damn, I forgot the time. Lin Feng was shocked. According to what Pei Hong and the others told him, when this clear Sanskrit sound rang in his mind, it meant that the first secret realm was about to close. There were only 2 hours left. If he couldn't find the exit in the allotted time, then he would be directly sent out of the secret realm. There's still 2 hours left. I should be able to make it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He didn't dare to stay any longer and didn't have time to study the mysteries of this green striped stone. Lin Feng grabbed it with his right hand and put it in his arms. In an instant, it was as if a gust of wind passed by. His speed was twice as fast as when he first entered. Second-level Star Sea State. Outside the second secret realm. This bastard, he really made me wait for 9 days. Lai, who was so angry that he was fuming. The 10 days were about to pass, and the first secret realm was about to close. At this moment, the huge palace door was faintly discernible, as if it was about to disappear. The door to the second secret realm opened along with the opening of the first secret realm. As the first secret realm closed, the door to the second secret realm disappeared within 10 seconds. Other warriors might not understand these rules. But as a member of the Lu family, Lai Hu couldn't be more familiar with them. Without mentioning anything else, he himself had already entered the green smoke secret realm countless times. Damn, I thought this Lin Wen had 3 heads and 6 arms. He couldn't even pass the first secret realm. Lai Hu clenched his teeth. No one would be in a good mood after waiting for 9 days without anything happening. Moreover, they were in the green smoke mystery realm. In other words, wasting the 9 heaven mystery realms' time. This was a once-in-a-year opportunity. Depressing. Fierce Tiger's face turned ugly. Not only did he fail to complete the mission given by the Patriarch, he had also wasted the precious time of the 9 heavens. It could be said that he had suffered a double loss. Lin Wen, I'll teach you a lesson when I come out. Lai Hu clenched his fists as anger flashed in his eyes. His lightning-like eyes glanced at the dim halo of the first secret realm, as if he was unwilling to give up. Shortly after, his right foot heavily stomped on the ground, and Fierce Tiger immediately scuttled into the enormous palace. His figure flickered for a moment before disappearing. At the same time, whoosh! Among the 100 halos, one of them flickered with light. Just before the circle of light disappeared, a young man in black appeared, his chest rising and falling slightly. Fortunately, I made it in time. Lin Feng smiled, secretly feeling lucky. Fortunately, he had the mark of the flame of rebirth. Otherwise, wouldn't it be funny if he was defeated in the first secret realm? Suddenly thinking of Qin Qianqian, Lin Feng couldn't help but smile. If that was the case, he would inevitably be ridiculed by her. At that time, he would have to suffer in silence. Looking around, Lin Feng said softly, "Oh," feeling a little surprised. As far as his eyes could see, there were countless halos surrounding him, forming a circle. In the center of the circle, there was a huge green palace. It was crystal clear, majestic, and magnificent. Looking at it, it was filled with extreme beauty, making people unable to move their eyes away. "This is the second secret realm?" Lin Feng murmured softly. At this moment, the halos behind him slowly disappeared as the energy leaked out. Along with a wave of energy, the enormous palace flickered slightly, which made Lin Feng slightly surprised. Swoosh! Lin Feng moved slightly and arrived in front of the palace. The steps that were like jade pearls were exquisite and exquisite. The walls that seemed to be made of jade were crystal clear without any impurities. And the exquisite door, at this moment. Lin Feng's eyes lit up slightly. In front of him, the light of the door was gradually dimming. Oh no! In an instant, Lin Feng reacted. At the last moment, a few seconds before the door closed, swoosh! Lin Feng penetrated through. The space was swirling and the world was spinning. Lin Feng's eyes were covered by a vast expanse of greenery, which blocked his vision. He seemed to have entered an unknown world, which was full of mysteries and mysteries. Stomp! Lin Feng's feet touched the ground, and the light in front of him gradually disappeared. The greenery was gone, and what replaced it was a perfect palace made of resplendent jadeite and jade. It was vigorous and grand, noble and elegant. The enormous space was enough to accommodate millions of people without feeling crowded at all. This palace was extremely majestic and magnificent. It was scary but not dangerous. Lin Feng exhaled lightly and smiled faintly. He almost missed the opportunity to enter the second secret realm. If he failed like this, it would be too much of a pity. This is the second secret realm? Lin Feng's eyes flickered. The second secret realm was the cultivation realm. As far as he knew, this was the only thing he knew. As for how much time he could cultivate in the cultivation realm and how many mysteries there were, he didn't know. Let's just fight and figure it out. Lin Feng smiled and didn't mind. He gained a lot in the first secret realm. Not only did he increase his strength to level 2-star sea state in 10 days, but he also obtained a treasure by chance. Although he didn't know what the green striped stone was for, clearly, just by feeling the energy chi, he knew it wasn't ordinary. This trip was already very worth it. The rest was to earn as much as possible. Let's go ahead and take a look, Lin Feng said. The palace was very big and luxurious, but no matter how big the palace was, it wasn't difficult to explore it once. East, south, west, and north, 4 sub-palaces. Lin Feng understood. He was now at the center of the palace, and there was a sub-palace in every direction. It was like a bridge that led to another level, but there was no introduction. It looked similar but different. Every palace has its own attraction. How should I choose? Lin Feng frowned slightly. He had already circled around these 4 halls twice, but he was still unable to make up his mind and was at his wits' end. There doesn't seem to be any special rules. If it doesn't work, I can only choose one randomly. Lin Feng nodded lightly. It wasn't a good idea to waste time here. Covering his chest with his hand, Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Rely on your intuition. Let your heart decide. He closed his eyes and relaxed completely. Lin Feng emitted his qi and attracted the qi of heaven and earth. He could clearly sense everything around him. The resonating sound in the air and the subtle energy fluctuations made him feel as if he could feel every inch of his skin. Lin Feng took a deep breath, sensing the east, south, west, and north palaces again and again. Until the time it took to burn an incense stick had passed. Let's go to the East Palace. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes. His face was resolute. Since he had made up his mind, he wouldn't change his mind. Lin Feng quickly arrived outside the Eastern Hall. He could feel the powerful energy ripples in the hall, which stirred his soul. His intuition told him that this was the most suitable path for him to take among the 4 sub-palaces. Swoosh! Lin Feng stepped out with his right foot. A light flashed and he disappeared instantly. It was a world filled with greenery like a crystal. The ground under his feet was made of transparent glass and jade. It had a faint coolness, and it emitted the aura of life. Lin Feng walked in this passage, his heart full of curiosity. This place extended in all directions. The deeper he went, the more spacious it became. It was like a big tree branch blooming with green leaves. The higher he went, the more branches and leaves there were, forming a trapezoidal picture. Crystal palaces of various colors were in front of him. It seems, I have to choose again? Lin Feng smiled. He walked around the entire East Palace Hall again and again, but it was 10 times bigger than the main hall outside. There were different crystal palaces of different sizes and colors. The aura they emitted was also different. Every single existence here was so special. Phew! Stepping on the ground, Lin Feng gently closed his eyes. Although he wasn't in a hurry, since he didn't have a clue, he didn't want to waste time. But this time, there were too many choices. Hundreds of crystal palaces were colorful. Red, yellow, blue, white, and green were endless. Even the crystal palaces of the same color weren't the same size. Some were thousands of meters long and wide, and some were only 100 meters long. It feels the same. Lin Feng shook his head with a bitter smile. Previously, in the main palace, it wasn't too difficult to choose one of the 4. The East Palace's aura was stronger, the South and West Palace were almost the same, and the North Palace was the weakest. But here, there wasn't much difference between the colors. The only difference was the size of the crystal palaces. The bigger the aura, the stronger the aura, and the smaller the aura, the weaker the aura. But, if the crystal palaces were too big, they would give off a dangerous feeling. A little danger, a little opportunity. Seems like it's referring to this. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. He looked around with bright eyes. It was hard to choose, but time was precious. Since he couldn't understand it, he might as well choose one at random. Let's see how lucky I am. After thinking for a while, Lin Feng looked at the crystal palace closest to him. It was shining with an attractive yellow luster. 1,000 meters long and wide, it was above average. It gave him a very dangerous feeling. But at the same time, he was quite tempted. It's you! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Like a shooting star, Lin Feng instantly passed through the yellow crystal and entered it. Whoosh! Yellow light flashed in front of him. Lin Feng felt like he had come to a new world. Everything was new. And at this moment, an indifferent voice suddenly sounded by his ear. A bit stuck, I'm a bit late. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 482. The time ratio is 10:1. Cultivators have half a year to defeat the Crystal Guardian. Only the power of the God of War is allowed. The 3 sentences rang in Lin Feng's ears, startling him. Suddenly, he came to his senses. Everything in front of him became clear, as if it was a fleeting cloud. But it was real. So this is the second secret realm. The cultivation realm. Lin Feng nodded. Danger was not scary. What was scary was the potential danger. The unknown was scary. The mysteries of the second secret realm were revealed. Lin Feng looked around and saw that he was in a land of yellow crystals. There were crystals, icicles, and ice walls everywhere. Hiss! Lin Feng took a deep breath, his eyes burning. What a strong qi of heaven and earth! Slightly surprised, Lin Feng looked around. The qi of heaven and earth here was much stronger than the outside world. It was even stronger than the 100 Falls where he had been before. If he cultivated his energy here, he would get half the result with twice the effort. But the qi of heaven and earth 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 was much less than star power. This was just a cultivation paradise for galaxy-class warriors. A unique palace. He was currently at the entrance of the palace. He could see everything clearly. Oh! Lin Feng looked around as he walked, a surprised expression on his face. On one of the crystal walls, there were lines of words, many of which were annotations and unique nouns. In an instant, Lin Feng was captivated. He stared at the crystal wall, unable to take his eyes off it. Lin Feng browsed line by line. It was very long and complicated. There were countless essences and secrets hidden in it. Lin Feng stared and soon became immersed in it. Until an hour later. What a profound cultivation technique! This is a cultivation technique for cultivating energy. Lin Feng opened his eyes with a whoosh. Perhaps compared to his own strategy of Emperor Shun, this set of cultivation methods was nothing. However, if placed in Green Smoke City, it was already quite amazing. According to the description, this mental cultivation method should have 7 levels, but here, only 2 levels. Lin Feng frowned, feeling a little surprised. Looking around, the crystal wall was all alone, and there was nothing special about it. Exhaling lightly, Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Let's take a look at other places. After pondering for a moment, Lin Feng immediately stepped forward. To him, mental cultivation methods were not of much help to the improvement of his strength. Concentrating on one thing was enough. Very quickly Lin Feng found another crystal wall. After skimming through it, he found that it was another mental cultivation method. Compared to the previous set, it was not inferior at all. However, what surprised Lin Feng was not only this. As he continued to move forward, he found a total of 12 sets of mental cultivation methods of various shapes and sizes in this ring-shaped palace. Each of them had their own uniqueness and were completely different. However, there was one thing that was exactly the same, and that was that these mental cultivation methods all had flaws and were only a part of the complete version. There was no name of the mental cultivation method, nor was there any introduction of the mental cultivation method. There were only nameless books. This was the cultivation realm. The time ratio is 10:1. In other words, staying here for half a year is only equivalent to staying here for 18 days in the outside world. Lin Feng pondered. He was not unfamiliar with this. Long ago in the Tianwu continent, he had already experienced this kind of cultivation. Moreover, the time ratio was 1001. In comparison, 10:1 was simply insignificant. However, for now, it was already a good cultivation condition. The Crystal Guardian? Lin Feng looked at the end of the palace, and his eyes flickered slightly. It was obvious that the Crystal Guardian was guarding the exit, and it existed as the test of this cultivation realm. Why not have an extra half a year of cultivation time? Lin Feng smiled lightly. He did not know how many mysteries there were in this green smoke secret realm. However, just like the first secret realm, instead of looking forward to the unknown future, it was better to grasp the present. That was the absolute principle. Let's cultivate the devouring fire first. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. Just as he was about to enter the Phoenix realm of the extreme road, he was suddenly stunned. He realized that he could not sense the existence of the Phoenix natal plate. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, but he suddenly remembered the words that he heard when he first entered. He immediately understood. Restricted to the use of the power of the war god. The other powers have been sealed again? Lin Feng smiled bitterly. However, it was not the first time, so he was not too surprised. Pursing his lips slightly, Lin Feng immediately understood. 12 different mental cultivation methods. And the density of spirit energy is 10 times that of the outside world. The cultivation realm. This place should be focused on the cultivation of mental cultivation method. Lin Feng settled down, then took out the strategy of Emperor Shun and sat down. Since he was already here, he might as well make the best of it. With the strategy of Emperor Shun, he naturally did not need the help of other mental cultivation methods. Cultivating alone would yield result. But it's also good. I have not had the time to properly comprehend the strategy of Emperor Shun. Now, this is an opportunity. Lin Feng smiled slightly. The strength of the war god was mainly displayed by the aura qi. It was the most important point of attack. The stronger the aura qi, the more power the war god could display. Whether it was the flame of rebirth or the devouring fire, if they remained at the Star River level, they would eventually be completely replaced by the aura qi. Currently, he was relying too much on the flame of rebirth. It was like the body of the war god, the attack method of the war god. It was not conducive to long-term development. Emperor Shun's aura qi, I have cultivated to the second layer, the third layer. Lin Feng nodded. The strategy of Emperor Shun, every time the war god's spirit was activated, one could cultivate to the next layer. When he cultivated to the second layer, the first layer, the power was already stronger than the first layer, the seventh layer. Every 3 layers was a step. He could completely imagine how powerful the Emperor Shun's aura would be when he cultivated to the second layer, the 7th layer and above. Maybe it can surpass the flame of rebirth. Lin Feng's eyes brightened. His cultivation did not follow the prescribed order. Instead, he drank poison to quench his thirst. He cultivated whichever aspect of his strength increased the fastest. Therefore, even though he knew the importance of the strategy of Emperor Shun, he still chose to cultivate the flame of rebirth. In the end, it was because he did not have enough time. Ever since he entered the Douling world, he did not have much time to truly cultivate. And now it was a good opportunity. The qi of heaven and earth here is so dense. Whether it is comprehending or cultivating the strategy of Emperor Shun, it will be half the result with twice the effort. Lin Feng nodded lightly. Right now there were two paths in front of him. The first path was to cultivate the strategy of Emperor Shun and use the effect of the second layer, the third layer to strengthen his body and raise the war god level. With such dense qi of heaven and earth, even if he did not comprehend the star power, half a year's time was more than enough for him to reach the third level of the star sea level. The second path was to comprehend the strategy of Emperor Shun. Comprehension was different from cultivation. Comprehension was a kind of enlightenment. It would not have any obvious effect on increasing one's strength. But once it was comprehended, the quality of the aura qi would increase, and the war god's strength would naturally rise to another level. Both paths had their pros and cons. Under normal circumstances, he would naturally choose the second path. But right now, the qi of heaven and earth here was so dense. If he did not cultivate, wouldn't it be a waste? Moreover, from the first level of the star sea level to the second level of the star sea level, his original star power would double. If he reached the third level of the star sea level, his original star power would double again. By then, comprehending the star power would be easier. But let's take the second path first. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he quickly made a decision. Comprehending the strategy of Emperor Shun was imperative. Even if he put it aside now, he would still have to pick it up in the future. Rather than that, he might as well comprehend and benefit first. Especially when the war god level and the strengthening of the body, what really depended on was the star power. Relying on the qi of heaven and earth to strengthen was just a temporary measure. When the second level of the Emperor Shun aura qi is cultivated to a certain level, then I will take the first path. The effect is better. The deeper the comprehension of the strategy of Emperor Shun, the higher the weight of the Emperor Shun aura qi, and the faster the cultivation speed. This was the best way to get the best of both worlds. Let's begin. Half a year of cultivation. Lin Feng smiled and opened the strategy of Emperor Shun. In the other cultivation realms of the second secret realm. Boom! Boom! Lai Hu waved the sky halberd with a serious expression. With an earth-shattering sound, the sky piercer in his hand was like a light dagger, and he was able to control it as he wished. The halberd intent was shocking, and it was filled with a domineering aura. However, there seemed to be something missing. Lai Hu's expression was hesitant. The entire halberd art seemed to lack the most fundamental soul and couldn't unleash its full power. Soon, the entire set of halberd arts was completed. Lai Hu stared at a huge crystal statue, and his eyes were filled with fiery red light. His brows furrowed as he kept waving the sky halberd in his hand. It seemed to be a horizontal cut or a vertical cut, but it was always wrong. Boom! The sky halberd struck the ground, causing a violent tremor. Lai Hu's expression was fierce as he gritted his teeth. Damn it, what is missing? Damn Linwen, he made me restless. Lai Hu was furious as he raised his head and roared. In an instant, the sky halberd danced wildly, and a shocking aura spread out. Lai Hu's strength was terrifying. Sand and stones flew, and the wind howled, but it was just to vent. Huff huff, Lai Hu panted a few times and calmed down. I can't be disturbed by Linwen anymore. Lai Hu frowned. It's not easy to get a once-a-year opportunity. He has already wasted 90 days, so I have to seize the opportunity. The time ratio was 10:1. Indeed, 9 days in the first secret realm was equivalent to 90 days in the second secret realm. No wonder Lai Hu was so angry at that time. After all, in the second secret realm, even 1 day was extremely precious, not to mention 90 days. In another cultivation realm, Qin Qianqian closed her eyes, and her beautiful eyelashes trembled slightly. Her body was surrounded by a thick astral power. Feeling every bit of astral power and the source of this power, Qin Qianqian was completely immersed in the world of cultivation. No matter how fun she was, there was nothing she could do here except cultivate. If Sima Ji saw this, he would be very pleased. In terms of talent, Qin Xianxian was not inferior to Ji Xia at all, but she lacked hard work and determination. After a while, the astral power gradually weakened, and Qin Xianxian slowly opened her eyes. Master didn't lie to me. This is indeed a good place for cultivation. Qin Xianxian was pleasantly surprised. The astral power's cultivation effect is much better than the outside world. It's a pity that senior brother can't come. Qin Xianxian pouted and suddenly thought of Lin Feng. She snorted. It's all that bad guy's fault. Humph, after this cultivation, I will avenge senior brother and teach that bad guy a lesson. If senior brother was not injured and could not use his indigo light pupils, he would not have lost to him. Infuriating. Qin Xianxian snorted. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to come to Qidian. Come to vote for me. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 483. The strategy of Emperor Shun was easy to learn but hard to master. The difficulty of each level increased, not to mention that every 3 levels of heaven was a step, and the difficulty was even higher. Back then, Lin Feng had just broken through to the star sea level and spent only 3 days to comprehend the first 3 layers of the second layer of the strategy of Emperor Shun. But now, after spending 7 days, he was still stuck at the 3rd layer, unable to break through. From the 3rd layer to the 4th layer, it was too difficult. Even if the qi of heaven and earth here was very dense and helpful for comprehension, but comprehension depended on the martial artist after all. Time passed slowly. But Lin Feng was clearly not in a hurry. With half a year of cultivation time, it was quite ample. Huff huff, Lin Feng closed his eyes. Spiraling in a dense fog, Lin Feng's figure was completely covered. The surging qi of heaven and earth combined with the earth energy and merged into his body, forming a huge spiral. The qi covered his entire body, constantly rotating and changing. Compared to before, it was completely different. The density was astonishing. His body emitted a faint glow. Lin Feng's expression was very calm. Suddenly, Hua! The spiral shook violently, and the speed of its rotation increased rapidly. Lin Feng's body was like a huge black hole, constantly absorbing. His body condensed slightly, and the spiral became denser and more tenacious. But Lin Feng opened his eyes, and a bright light flashed in them. The 4th layer. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. 7 days of hard work had finally paid off. The Emperor Shun's earth energy from the 3rd layer to the 4th layer was undoubtedly a huge improvement. Just the circulation alone doubled the absorption speed, causing the cultivation speed to increase exponentially, and the absorption of qi of heaven and earth to double. Such dense qi of heaven and earth is indeed easier to comprehend. It feels good. Continue. Lin Feng thought for a moment and murmured softly. His mood did not fluctuate at all. For him, the Emperor Shun's earth energy reaching the 4th layer was a matter of course. The real difficulty was not here. Right now, this was just the beginning. Breaking through from the 3rd layer to the 4th layer was a huge bottleneck. However, once it was broken through, it was like a flood breaking through a dam, and it could not be stopped. From the 4th heavenly layer to the 5th heavenly layer, Lin Feng only spent 10 days. Although it took longer, it was still easier than the 4th heavenly layer. From the 5th heaven to the 6th heaven, the difficulty increased, but with Lin Feng's understanding and temperament, he only spent 18 days before he was declared a success. A total of 35 days. Phew! Lin Feng exhaled deeply, his eyes shining brightly. Including the first 3 levels, it took me 38 days to reach the 6th level from the 2nd level. Lin Feng felt a bit of joy, but it was much faster than he had expected. When he first started cultivating the Book of Emperor Shun, it took him 2 months to reach the 6th layer of heaven from the 1st layer. But at that time, in order to deal with the celestial hound, he only had 6 hours of stellar energy cultivation each day. It has a lot to do with the abundant spiritual energy here. Although the effect of understanding can't be compared to cultivating, it can at least double the efficiency. Lin Feng smiled faintly. A good start gave him more confidence in breaking through to the 7th layer of heaven. There are still 145 days left. It should not be a problem. Begin. Understanding was very difficult. Even in this place full of spiritual energy, it was the same. At that time, he spent a whole month to understand the 1st layer, the 7th layer. And the 2nd layer, the difficulty was obviously higher. Time passed by slowly. To Lin Feng, it was like a blink of an eye. He was completely immersed in the world of understanding the mental cultivation method. His whole heart was in it, and there were no other thoughts in his mind. There was only one thing: to break through this bottleneck. To reach the 7th layer, Lin Feng had an extreme desire and pursuit. 1 month, 2 months. Time flew by. Just as Lai Hu and Qin Qianqian entered a new cultivation state, Lin Feng finally welcomed a breakthrough. Ha ha! Hearty laughter could be heard. Lin Feng's eyes revealed a joyful expression. The qi of heaven and earth condensed outside his body was extremely thick, like a layer of thick clothing that completely wrapped around his body. Following Lin Feng's light shout, a black shadow suddenly rushed out. The spiral-shaped qi of heaven and earth soared like a dragon, and the qi of heaven and earth in his body was extremely revolving. His eyes were deep and bright, with a bright luster. Bang! The nightmare demon spear clanged. The fiery red spear body was filled with extreme sharpness. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. His right hand held the spear, and his left hand gently stroked the body of the spear. In an instant, Lin Feng's face was filled with joy. His qi of heaven and earth was completely released. The condensed milky white qi of heaven and earth was completely superior compared to the previous pale white qi of heaven and earth. Following the loud shout, his feet moved. The nightmare demon spear let out a dragon roar and pierced straight out. Fast as the wind. Fast as lightning. Sun Dragon Spear Art! Lin Feng shouted. A spear of extreme yang, displaying the power of the nightmare demon spear to its fullest. The milky white qi of heaven and earth condensed all the power. Just by looking at the momentum of the explosion, one could tell how powerful it was. Compared to the flame of rebirth, it was even more powerful. The 7th layer of heaven. Boom! An earth-shattering spear. As if piercing through space, Lin Feng held the spear in his right hand and stood in place. His eyes flickered with a bright light like the dazzling starlight in the horizon, and they were filled with dense joy. Very strong. Very strong. Lin Feng's mouth drew a smile, and the milky white qi of heaven and earth slowly dissipated. This spear condensed 90% of his power, perfectly displaying the power of the War God Level 2 Star C class. Finally, I've become a pure War God. Lin Feng smiled. The 7th layer of heaven's qi had now surpassed the flame of rebirth of the 52nd layer and became his strongest power. Compared to the 12 mental cultivation techniques recorded on the crystal wall, the strategy of Emperor Shun was more than 1 level higher. After all, this was a mental cultivation technique that his teacher specially prepared for him. One must know that his teacher was a starry sky elite with the strength of a war god. The power of the strategy of Emperor Shun that he cultivated naturally didn't need to be estimated. 84 days. Lin Feng nodded. This time, the time he spent was real. In this area where the efficiency was doubled, it took nearly 3 months. One could imagine how much energy it would take to break through in the outside world. Indeed, to reach the 2nd layer, the 7th layer, wasn't an easy thing. No matter how strong his perception was, The strategy of Emperor Shun wasn't an ordinary mental cultivation technique. The stronger the power, the harder it was to comprehend. But, the faster the cultivation, the stronger the power. There are still 61 days. I don't know if it's enough time to reach the starry sky level 3. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. The excitement of breaking through the second layer, the 7th layer, was immediately suppressed to the bottom of his heart. The path of a martial artist was long and profound. A momentary loss had little effect on the overall situation. The most important thing was to persevere and work hard, to cultivate continuously. Only then could one be a true martial artist. There is a huge difference between cultivating at the 7th layer of heaven and cultivating at the 3rd layer of heaven. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. Although it was only 2 months, compared to cultivating in the 3rd layer for half a year, the efficiency was not inferior. His decision back then was correct. Day after day. There were no shortcuts in cultivation. A month later, with the gift of the star power, his body was cleansed again. Lin Feng successfully reached the 3rd level of the starry sky level. Although he still hadn't comprehended the star power, his strength had completely transformed. Compared to the elite martial arts competition, just the strength of his body alone was 4 times stronger. Not to mention the complete advancement of his earth energy. The 7th layer of the Emperor Shun's earth energy was even stronger than the fire of rebirth. No matter in which aspect, there was an advancement breakthrough. If I meet Ji Xia again, I'm afraid I can easily defeat him. Lin Feng smiled. But it was just a hypothesis. After all, his strength was improving, and so was Ji Xia's. Perhaps he had the advantage of the Emperor Shun strategy, but Ji Xia had his master and the huge Li Yan sect behind him. Sects and forces. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In the Dou Ling world, sects, families, gangs, and so on became the dominant forces one after another. The more he lived in the Dou Ling world, the more Lin Feng understood the importance of having a backer behind him. Without his father's guidance and help, he wouldn't be outstanding or unique in this foreign land. Not to mention other things, just Ji Xia alone might not be comparable to him. And he was just a disciple with good aptitude in the Li Yan sect. Even, he couldn't enter the top 3. And outside the Li Yan sect, there was the Yanling sect that was even stronger. In the huge Yanling prefecture, the Li Yan sect and the Yanling sect only occupied a little more than 10% of the land. One could imagine how many geniuses there were in the Yanling prefecture. And the Yanling prefecture was just a speck of dust in the southern region. As far as he knew, there were more than thousands of places like the Yanling prefecture in the entire southern region. Compared to the 9 continents in the southern region, what was the Yanling prefecture? And the 9 continents of the human tribe were only attached to the sorcerer tribe. Very insignificant. Lin Feng shook his head gently. The more he thought about it, the more insignificant he felt. Compared to the Tianwu continent, he was nothing here. Maybe I should change my mindset. Joining a sect isn't a big deal. Even if I lose my freedom for a while, in exchange, I can improve my strength rapidly and have a stable cultivation environment and conditions. This is the most indispensable thing in the Dou Ling world. Without strength, what freedom is there to talk about? Muttering to himself, Lin Feng bit his lips lightly. The scale in his heart was slightly shaken. To him, joining the Li Yan sect might be an opportunity that had more advantages than disadvantages. He couldn't miss it. He had 10,000 years, so what if he sacrificed a little? I'll make a decision when I leave the Green Smoke Mystery Land, Lin Feng said softly. I should focus on cultivation now. There's still a month's time, don't waste it. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled as he nodded slowly. Cultivating in this place with spiritual energy, 1 day's cultivation was equivalent to 10 days outside. 1 month's time was equivalent to 1 year outside. Cultivation, continue. There's one more chapter. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to vote for it at Cheedian.com. Your support is my biggest motivation. Chapter 484. Emperor Shun's Strategy, Level 7. The speed of his cultivation far exceeded that of similar cultivation methods for cultivating stellar energy. Cultivating in this area with 10 times the density of spirit chi was like adding wings to a tiger. In the last month, Lin Feng completed 50% of the requirement to reach Star Sea State Level 4. If this happened to other war gods who didn't comprehend star power, they would need at least a few decades to reach this level. However, Lin Feng only cultivated in the Green Smoke Secret Realm for half a year. The difference was so huge that it made people sweat. Pa! He opened his eyes. Lin Feng stood up with an exuberant expression. He had cultivated for 179 days, and there was only 1 day left. It's about time. Lin Feng nodded. He couldn't be as mysterious as the first secret realm every time. It was a race against time, but it was too dangerous. It was safer to leave some leeway. Only limited to using war god power. Defeat the Crystal Guardian within half a year. The 2 sentences from half a year ago appeared in his mind. Lin Feng smiled faintly and stepped forward. This requirement, to the current him, was it difficult? At the end of the Crystal Palace, the white wall blocked the front. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he stepped in without hesitation. Hua! A resplendent yellow light burst out. Lin Feng felt that he came to a place shrouded in light. There was no end in sight, and a huge crystal martial field spread out. Instantly, a yellow figure sped towards him. It was 3 meters tall, and its entire body flickered with bright light. It was made of crystals and was rather strange. Such speed! Lin Feng's eyes flashed. The speed of the crystal person that was flying over was more than 4 times faster than him. It's almost equivalent to Star Sea State Level 7. Lin Feng was surprised. He didn't expect the Crystal Guardian to be so strong. When he was a Level 1 Star Sea State, his speed was comparable to a Level 3 Star Sea State martial artist. Of course, it was due to the buff from the heroic spirit, but it was more due to his dual cultivation constitution being stronger than ordinary martial artists. Now, he was a Level 3 Cosmic Sea State, and his speed was almost as fast as a Level 5 Cosmic Sea State. However, the Guardian was still 4 times faster than him. It should be Star Sea State Level 7. If I fought it when I just entered the cultivation realm, I wouldn't even know how I died. Lin Feng smiled. Indeed, the disparity between him and the Crystal Man from back then was like a chasm between heaven and earth. However, now that his strength had greatly increased, these Crystal Guardians that had no intelligence were merely empty shells. Star Sea State Level 7? Without the battle god's spirit, without astral energy, there was nothing to fear. Emperor Shun's Gangqi. Lin Feng shouted softly. In an instant, the milky white Gangqi of the 2nd layer of the 7th layer of heaven circulated around his body. Dense heaven and earth energy filled the air. Even the nightmare demon's spear in his hand was emitting a milky white luster. It was filled with powerful energy, as if a white dragon was circling around the nightmare demon's spear. At this moment, the appearance of the black fog instantly shrouded the entire battlefield. The Crystal Man seemed to have sunk into a swamp, while Lin Feng's speed suddenly doubled. With 1 increase and 1 decrease, the disparity was instantly reduced to the limit. Wind vortex! Lin Feng shouted. Thousands of small holes on his right leg gathered the heaven and earth energy. Lin Feng's figure instantly became strange. He was as fast as lightning and easily dodged the Crystal Man's attack. Easily dodging, Lin Feng smiled indifferently while facing his opponent who was like a puppet. This was the improvement he had made in half a year. Otherwise, the one in a sorry state now wouldn't be the Crystal Man, but himself. In this half a year, his strength had increased by more than 10 times. He was no longer the same as before. Let's end this. Lin Feng's eyes lit up, and the nightmare demon's spear in his hand pierced through. There were no fancy moves or technique. There was only an extremely strong and powerful attack. Sun Dragon Spear Art. Boom. Its power was fully displayed, even though Lin Feng didn't use his left hand. Just the Gang Qi of the 7th layer of the 2nd layer of the 9 heavens was already terrifying. Bang! The crystal man shattered into pieces and disappeared in an instant. Lin Feng was holding the nightmare demon's spear in his hand. His expression was calm. The shattered crystal pieces seemed to be floating in front of his eyes. The faint yellow light gradually disappeared, and his eyes were bright. He had already left the Yellow Crystal Palace and returned to the 2nd secret realm. I'm out. Lin Feng smiled indifferently. 180 days in the Crystal Palace meant that 18 days had passed in the outside world. Looking around, this place was still filled with greenery. The crystal jade-like world was extremely beautiful. The ground under his feet was made of transparent glass and jade. It had a faint coolness and a strong aura of life. This was the East Palace of the 2nd secret realm. If I'm not wrong, the South Palace, West Palace, and North Palace should be where martial gods, heavenly spirit masters, and heavenly soul masters cultivate. Lin Feng nodded lightly. It wasn't too difficult to deduce. Back then, he had sensed the South Palace and West Palace very clearly. They were only slightly inferior to the East Palace. This place is really a cultivation paradise. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Right now, he was still in the 2nd secret realm. In other words, he still had time. Lin Feng's mind cleared. Instantly, his eyes focused on his surroundings, looking for his next target. Time was extremely precious. Let's go there. Lin Feng's eyes caught a glimpse of the Red Crystal Palace not far away. Without thinking, he sped over. It was twice as big as the Yellow Crystal Palace, but it wasn't the largest crystal palace here. Its aura was inexplicably attractive, making him feel very comfortable. Whoosh! Lin Feng's figure suddenly moved. He didn't hesitate too much, and he didn't need to think too much. In this place, he wasn't familiar with at all. No matter how much he thought, it was useless. Everything depended on luck and the will of the heavens. Trust your heart. Lin Feng covered his chest with his right hand and smiled slightly. A red light suddenly flashed in front of him. Lin Feng passed through the red door, as if he had arrived at a brand new world. His eyes lit up with deep shock. This place is... Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. He had worn out the shovel looking for nothing, but now he found it without any effort. His heart was filled with joy. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded in his ears. Lin Feng's lips curled up slightly. In another cultivation realm. Clang! Clang! Lai Hu waved the sky piercer, and a violent roar shook the earth. He waved it continuously, and rays of light burst out continuously. The originally rusty halberd skill had already been perfected. Every time he entered the green smoke secret realm, Lai Hu longed to enter this cultivation realm to increase his strength in all aspects. This was already the 2nd cultivation realm he had entered this time. Star Power, 3rd Gear. Lai Hu gritted his teeth and shouted. Red starlight spread out, like the color of a flame, condensing around his body. His muscles suddenly expanded, and a red mist condensed in front of him, bringing with it a majestic aura. Lai Hu's halberd skill, regardless of power or attack speed, had reached the peak. It was a crazy attack, but it was as if he had discovered something. Lai Hu's face was gloomy, and he was obviously dissatisfied. Damn it, damn it! Lai Hu gritted his teeth and shouted, looking as if he had gone crazy. Why can't I comprehend the 4th gear? What exactly am I missing? The heavenly halberd was like a thunderclap as it continuously exploded with power, leaving behind one hole after another in the gigantic crystal pillar. However, very quickly, the shattered crystal was repaired, while Lai Hu's face became even more malevolent. There are still 120 days. Lai Hu panted, his chest constantly moving up and down. Other warriors might not know, but he had entered the green smoke secret realm more than once or twice, so he knew clearly. 10 days in the first secret realm, and 30 days in the second secret realm. The time could be accumulated. I can definitely do it. Lu Long can comprehend the fourth gear, so can I. Lai Hu gritted his teeth like a furious tiger. I will prove to everyone that I, Lai Hu, am the strongest warrior of the Lu family. Lai Hu's eyes were bright, and they were filled with determination. In his heart, his real opponent was Lu Long of the Tyrannosaurus Death Squad from the same family. As for Lin Feng, Lai Hu did not put him in his heart at all. In the Red Crystal Palace. See. Astonishing star power entwined. Qin Qianshan closed his eyes, sitting cross-legged on the Crystal Palace floor. His body was covered in a golden light with a hint of holiness and elegance. He looked like a fairy, and his temperament was extremely noble and beautiful. Strands of golden star power as thin as gossamer flowed into his body, causing Qin Qianshan's strength to continuously increase. Comprehending the star power, absorbing and cultivating. Over and over again, the cycle continued. The star power seemed to be endlessly absorbed, and Qin Qianshan's aura slowly increased. Until, a resplendent light flashed. The golden light completely covered Qin Qianshan's petite body, releasing a powerful energy. In the sky, strands of golden light filled the sky, like meteors descending from the sky, filled with joy. It was the war god's strength increasing, causing the gift to descend. Qin Qianshan's level increased. Now I'm also a Star C class level 3. Qin Qianshan placed her hands on her waist, her face full of pride. Indeed, at her age, she already had such strength. No wonder Sima she had such a high evaluation of her. Her talent was indeed outstanding. Master is too much. Why would I need that Lin one to take care of me? I should be the one taking care of him. Qin Qianshan pouted. He's only a Star C class level 1, and he hasn't even comprehended the star power. He was just lucky to win against senior brother that day. I really don't know what Master sees in him. When we get out, I'll definitely find him to spar. Let's see if he's stronger or I'm stronger, and avenge senior brother. Qin Qianshan's beautiful eyes shone brightly. The increase in her strength made her instantly bursting with confidence. She suddenly didn't know that at this moment, she had already been left far behind by Lin Feng's cultivation speed, but ignorance was fearless. Yesterday, the 3rd chapter. I'm dizzy. I uploaded it but didn't release it. I wrote until 4 a.m. yesterday. I'm really dizzy. I'll continue writing. There should be 3 chapters today. To be continued. If you like this work, you're welcome to come to Chidian.com to vote for me. Your support is my greatest motivation. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Knights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.